Chapter 565. After the 7 of them left, Wang Daoyuan left Jade Spring Peak under the cover of the black magic robe and headed for Guiyan Market. When he arrived at the underground branch, Cui Ming had already arrived at the Shanbei branch. Wang Daoyuan gave his clan elder token to Cui Ming and asked him to bring all the disciples to the underground branch. He couldn't do this himself, so it was better to leave it to Cui Ming. When third brother gave them the task, he naturally wouldn't reveal the secret. Wang Daojin and the other 6 only knew that they had infiltrated Blood Shadow to obtain information for their family. Even if they were captured by outsiders and their identities were discovered through soul searching, it would at most be because the Wang family knew about Blood Shadow and wanted to infiltrate it. To Wang Daoyuan this was a small problem. Even if it was leaked, Blood Shadow's headquarters would at most order Zhou Wan to investigate the Shanbei branch. If they investigated their own, it would be over. The administrator's office was also a Golden Core faction, so the headquarters would also choose to do business with the Wang family. After all, they had sent Golden Core cultivators hundreds of thousands of miles to attack the Wang family in South Yen County. If they weren't careful, they would lose several Golden Core cultivators. The price was too high. If he kidnapped Zhou Wan, then the Shanbei and Qingli branches would all have the surname Wang. This was a big deal. If this was leaked, Blood Shadow's headquarters would rather lose a few Golden Core cultivators and send people to flatten the Wang family. Otherwise, Blood Shadow's dignity would be completely lost. Cui Ming took his token and brought the 7 of them to the underground branch, where they recorded their identity information. Of course, Wang Daojin hid his identity as a Zifu cultivator. They were assigned to Jackdaw's clones and trained for a period of time before they were made managers. After dealing with the transfer of power, Wang Daoyuan went to Zhou Wan's cave residence. This time she didn't cultivate. Instead, she lay on a deck chair in the backyard and ate red pine nuts. Her clothes were still very thrifty. Wang Daoyuan asked with a smile, "Hall Master, everything here has been arranged. Can you come back to the mountain with me to be the wife of the chief?" Zhou Wan didn't argue with him this time. She sighed and said, "I've been here for too long. I really can't bear to leave." Wang Daoyuan didn't seem to care at all. "If there's anything you can't bear to part with, we'll take them all. I'll build an identical immortal cave for you in the Earth Fire Room of Jade Spring Peak." Although the Jade Spring Peak wasn't big, it was still a few dozen miles in radius. It won't be a problem to open up an immortal's cave of a few acres in size near the Earth Fire. Hearing this, Zhou Wan's mood improved. She stood up and pointed at the garden, saying, "Take all the spirit plants here but forget about the house. In the future, I'll have to come back from time to take care of business." Wang Daoyuan called his doppelganger Mou and Lu Zong in and had them help pack up the spirit plants. The 2 of them didn't have many years left to live. This time he'd put them in the space of the spirit pearl and take them with him. It'd be easier for him to take back his subsouls. Jackdaw, on the other hand, still had a few years left to live. He had him stay here and cooperate with Cui Ming to control the Shanbei branch. Once Wang Daojin familiarized himself with Blood Shadow's affairs, he'd take Jackdaw back. Soon, the 2 doppelganger finished packing up all the spirit plants. Wang Daoyuan asked, "Why don't we take the bed with us? I'm used to sleeping on it. I don't want to leave it behind." Zhou Wan didn't refute him. Instead, she walked into her room and said, "Wait for me to change my clothes. I'll formally meet the elders. Wearing this isn't very dignified." Wang Daoyuan wanted to go in and help, but a fireball blasted him out. 4 hours later, Zhou Wan appeared in a fiery red dress with a scarlet phoenix embroidered with golden thread. Her expression didn't change. Before Wang Daoyuan could flatter her, she stretched out her hand and said, "Let me use the 100 spirits ring. There are too many things to bring. My interspatial ring can't hold them all." Wang Daoyuan had no choice but to take out the 100 spirits ring and help her pack. He hadn't seen her change her clothes many times before. In reality, the clothes weighed more than 1,000 kilograms. Add to that a pile of artifacts, spirit wine, and other miscellaneous items. An ordinary interspatial ring wouldn't be able to hold them all. After half a day, the 2 of them finally packed up everything. Wang Daoyuan took the bed with him. He put the black magic robe on Zhou Wan. The 2 of them left the underground branch and returned to Jade Spring Peak. When they returned to Jade Spring Peak, 5th granduncle, 12th uncle, and 3rd brother were already waiting for them in the auditorium. Wang Daoyuan led Zhou Wan into the auditorium. The soundproof and anti-prying formations were immediately activated. 5th granduncle asked, "Daoyuan, where's your granddaughter-in-law?" Zhou Wan was wearing the black magic robe. With the invisibility spell, even Golden Core cultivators wouldn't be able to discover her, let alone Zifu realm cultivators. Wang Daoyuan took the black magic robe off her body. She bowed to fifth granduncle and said, "Granddaughter-in-law Zhou greets fifth granduncle." Fifth granduncle nodded in satisfaction and said, "Daoyuan, you're really lucky." Zhou also bowed to 12th uncle and 3rd brother. The two of them also responded. After exchanging greetings for a while, Wang Daoyuan said, "Zhou is a fire attribute cultivator. It's not suitable for her to live near Jade Dragon Spring. I plan to open an immortal's cave at the bottom of the earth fire room for her." The three of them naturally didn't have any objections. 3rd brother smiled and said, "I'll set the bottom of the earth fire room as a restricted area. No one is allowed to trespass. You guys can live there at ease." After exchanging a few more words, Wang Daoyuan brought Zhou to the ancestral shrine to worship their ancestors. Then they went to the ancestral grave at the back mountain to worship their parents. After that, the two of them came to the earth fire room. The entire earth fire room had more than 100 smaller rooms. The fire eye had already been set up. Some clansmen were refining pills and refining tools in the smaller rooms. The entire earth fire room was several thousand feet deep. The existing rooms were relatively close to the upper level, far away from the lava. After all, the highest cultivation level of the clan's refiners and pill refiners was only at the peak of foundation establishment. There were also many clansmen at chi refinement. If they were too close to the lava, they wouldn't be able to withstand it. In the future, when there were more clansmen with higher cultivation levels, they could continue to open up smaller rooms. Wang Daoyuan and Zhou didn't disturb them and went straight to the lowest level. This place was only 1,000 feet away from the lava. Apart from Wang Daoyuan and Zhou, no one in the clan could stay here for long periods of time. Naturally, they didn't open up small rooms here. Wang Daoyuan took out a wisp of dust-returning flame and threw it on the stone wall directly south of the lava lake. In just a few minutes, a small room of 20 feet square was burned out. Then he set up the fire eye array to control the fire attribute spirit chi while controlling the dust-returning flame to burn the stone wall. Zhou didn't disturb him and meditated beside the fire eye. 2 days later, the array for the fire eye and the array to block outside detection were set up. The dust-returning flame also burned out a cave that was similar to the cave abode in the northern part of the mountain. Wang Daoyuan set up another array to separate the fire eye from the cave abode. After all kinds of spirit plants were planted in the cave abode. If the fire spirit chi wasn't blocked out, these spirit plants wouldn't be able to withstand it. More than a month later, all kinds of arrays were set up. After a few more days, the cave abode was completely restored. In order to neutralize the fire spirit chi, Wang Daoyuan also drew a water vein and artificially created a spirit spring. Finally, he took out a carved wooden bed and placed it in the boudoir. He smiled and said, "Mistress of the fort, I fulfilled my promise. Is there any reward?" Zhou rolled her eyes at him and stretched out her hand. "What mistress of the fort? Call me Lord Hall Master. Take out the secret method of condensing the pseudo-spirit fire. I'll reward you with it." Wang Daoyuan replied, "Yes, mistress of the fort. The pseudo-spirit fire doesn't matter if it's sooner or later. Why don't you reward me with something else first?" Zhou glared at him. "What do you think?" Wang Daoyuan hurriedly replied, "I have no objections." Then he took out the inheritance copy left behind by True Lord 100 Spirits. "The inheritance of True Lord 100 Spirits that I obtained is all here. The secret method of condensing the pseudo-spirit fire is in the fire control record." Zhou carefully studied the fire control record. A day later, she took out a wisp of red Luan Nirvana flame and placed it in the fire eye to nourish it. The power of this red Luan Nirvana flame was indeed extraordinary. Although it was only a third-grade spirit fire, the speed at which it absorbed fire spirit chi and strengthened itself was comparable to a fourth-grade spirit fire. Chapter 566. In just 3 days, the rootless flame had accumulated enough spiritual energy. Zhou summoned the scarlet Luan Nirvana flame. This flame was still in the form of the scarlet Luan divine bird, with a fire seed in its mouth. She used a secret technique and separated a bit of the scarlet Luan's Nirvana flame into the fire eye. The scarlet phoenix Nirvana flame was condensed from her small sacred art. When this flame was condensed, it had already recognized its master. No one else could touch it. If Wang Daoyuan were to make a move, not to mention splitting the fire seed, even his divine sense would be attacked. If Zhou did it herself, the scarlet Luan's Nirvana flame would not have the slightest bit of resistance. The scarlet Luan's Nirvana flame had lost a part of its fire seed, causing its flame to become a little smaller. Zhou quickly withdrew it back into her body to nourish it. The pseudo-spiritual fire in the fire eye had yet to stabilize, but Wang Daoyuan had to personally take care of it. Otherwise, the flame that he cultivated in the future would still recognize Zhou as its master and not listen to him. In the past, nurturing the pseudo-spirit fire was very troublesome. It required a very long time to stabilize the pseudo-spirit fire without any risk of extinguishing. Now that he had the meteorite fire-controlling gourd, he didn't need to wait. He took out the gourd, which contained the rootless fire of the 5 elements spiritual fire. Wang Daoyuan drained all the spiritual energy in the gourd, and the rootless flame extinguished by itself. After that, he kept the rootless flame of the scarlet Luan nirvana flame into the gourd. With the protection of the gourd, there was no need to worry that it would be extinguished. The gourd had recognized Wang Daoyuan as its master, and the pseudo-spiritual fire had been nurtured into a spiritual fire in the gourd. In the future, it would also recognize Wang Daoyuan as its master. He already had 5 types of spiritual fire, so this scarlet Luan nirvana flame naturally could not be refined into a spiritual energy seed. Even if it was refined into one's body, it could still be devoured and assimilated by the scarlet yang primordial fire. Although he could use the scarlet phoenix's nirvana flame to cast the nirvana secret technique, it did not have pure yang qi. The pure yang qi of the scarlet yang true fire and the pure yin qi of the gui water nether flame were in balance. It was extremely beneficial to the growth of the fleshly body and the soul. It was not worthwhile to use the scarlet phoenix nirvana flame to replace the scarlet yang true fire. However, this scarlet phoenix's nirvana flame was not completely useless. It could be used in conjunction with the secret arts in the essence of the divine ability. The essentials of divine arts that he had exchanged with Zhong Jinyang had recorded many methods to help him comprehend lesser divine arts. The most reliable one was the phenomenon in his violet palace. In other words, he used spiritual items that were compatible with the purple mansion phenomenon to nurture it. The essence of divine ability speculated that the lesser divine abilities of golden core cultivators came from the purple mansion phenomenon. It could be said that the lesser divine ability was sleeping within the purple mansion phenomenon. Those who had comprehended lesser divine abilities were just blind cats running into dead mice, coincidentally awakening lesser divine abilities. This secret technique required a massive amount of spiritual items to nurture the Violet Palace's phenomenon. The stronger the Purple Mansion anomaly was, the easier it was to awaken a lesser ability. Other methods, such as coming into contact with things similar to the Violet Palace realm phenomenon, could also increase the chances of encountering dead rats. Even worse was the Violet Palace resonance secret technique. The other method was to comprehend the innate Dharma spells of the same species as the Violet Palace phenomenon. For example, the reverse scale of the jade-scaled flood dragon in Wang Daoyuan's possession. According to the essence of divine ability, the reverse scale of a dragon hid the innate Dharma spells that the dragon had comprehended. These innate Dharma spells could be transformed into lesser divine abilities in the future. Comprehending these innate Dharma spells would naturally be of great help in comprehending lesser divine abilities. Although there were many successful examples of these methods, the success rate couldn't be compared to nurturing the Violet Palace phenomenon. The success rate of nurturing the Violet Palace phenomenon was higher, but it also had a fatal flaw, which was that it consumed too many resources. Even tens of thousands of years ago, when the Valley of Beasts was still around, only those cultivators who were heavily nurtured by the sect could afford to use this method. Wang Daoyuan was the least afraid of consuming resources to nurture the Violet Palace phenomenon. Apart from the blood essence of the 5 elements divine beasts, there were no other resources that could compare to the spiritual fire. Among the 5 element spiritual fires that he had refined, only the crimson yang primordial fire was not suitable for nurturing the vermilion bird phenomenon. After all, the crimson yang primordial fire came from the scarlet feathered crow and had a trace of the golden crow's charm. Otherwise it wouldn't have its current power. If he used the crimson yang primordial fire to nurture the vermilion bird phenomenon, the charm of the 2 divine birds might consume each other and cause the opposite effect. The other 4 spiritual fires had nothing to do with the divine beasts and wouldn't have such side effects when nurturing the Violet Palace phenomenon. However, the crimson Luan nirvana fire was very suitable for nurturing the vermilion bird phenomenon. Legend has it that the vermilion bird was an extremely powerful variant of the phoenix race and was far stronger than ordinary phoenixes. The crimson Luan was also of the phoenix race. Although it wasn't as strong as the vermilion bird, the charm of the 2 should be very similar. The best way to nurture the vermilion bird phenomenon should be the vermilion bird's Nanming primordial fire. However, this was the legendary top-tier divine fire. Even the ancient mighty figures couldn't get their hands on it, let alone him. Using the Crimson Luan Nirvana fire to nurture the vermilion bird phenomenon should be more effective than the other 4 spiritual fires. Wang Daoyuan placed the meteorite fire controlling gourd directly into the fire eye to absorb the fire attribute spirit energy and stabilize the pseudo-spirit fire. Zhou took out 2 jade slips and handed them to him. Wang Daoyuan took the jade slips and checked them. The 2 jade slips recorded the Nirvana secret technique and the Crimson Luan fire controlling escape technique. He asked, "Mistress of the fort, why did you give me the escape technique as well?" Zhou answered, "Although your cloud escaping technique is very powerful, it's not very good after leaving the water. In an environment like a volcano, it's even harder to use it. My Crimson Luan fire controlling escape technique can make up for your shortcomings. Now that you also have the Crimson Luan Nirvana fire, with the spiritual fire and the escape technique, your speed will far surpass that of ordinary level 4 escape techniques. With this escape technique, it'll be safer for you when you go out." Wang Daoyuan hugged Zhou and said, "You're really my virtuous wife, always thinking of me." Zhou face turned slightly red. "You and I are husband and wife. Didn't you also give me the inheritance of true Lord 100 spirits?" Wang Daoyuan hugged Zhou and walked towards her room. Just as he put her on the bed, the Hall Master token flickered with spiritual power. Zhou took the token, checked it and said, "The refined corpses are moving again. 1 level 4 high grade, 2 level 4 middle grade, and 3 level 4 low grade. A total of 6 refined corpses are heading towards the east." The atmosphere was gone just like that. Wang Daoyuan wanted nothing more than to smash the Hall Master token. Looking at his flustered and exasperated appearance, Zhou smiled and said, "You're only so promising. Think of a countermeasure first. With so many refined corpses moving out, the demonic beasts are like a plate of loose sand, unable to resist at all. In the future, the heavenly/mountain range will not be peaceful. We have to be prepared to resist the demonic beast." Wang Daoyuan did not take it seriously. "I have the meteoric fire controlling gourd so I can kill level 4 high-grade refined corpses now. Level 4 high-grade demonic beasts without small divine abilities are also not my match. As for those low-level demonic beasts that cannot fly, I can casually release a type of flame and they will all die. As long as there is no large-scale beast tide, there is no need to be afraid of them." Zhou nodded and said, "The demonic beasts are chased away by the refined corpses. They are like headless flies, and there will not be a beast tide in a short period of time. You have the means to kill a large number of low-level demonic beasts, so there is no need to be too worried. I will let the spies gather more information, and report immediately if there is any abnormality." Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "Lord Hall Master, you see that managing the intelligence agency is so tiring. Why don't you let me manage it? You can also wholeheartedly cultivate." Zhou looked at him with disdain. "In your dreams? You want to hide your little tricks from me? If the intelligence agency falls into your hands, I won't know if you are fooling around outside in the future, right? I have the intelligence agency in my hands, and you dare to cuddle with that vixen Ming Xian. If I let you manage the intelligence agency, I'm afraid you will dare to stay in the Dark Fox tribe. Who knows, maybe the little foxes have already given birth to a bunch of babies." Wang Daoyuan subconsciously retorted, "How can a Jindan cultivator give birth so quickly?" Zhou pinched his waist and even twisted it a few times. She said angrily, "You really think so? When you go out in the future, I will have to strengthen the surveillance on you. All day long you think about fooling around. If you are not careful you can find a vixen." Wang Daoyuan hurriedly begged for mercy, and the two of them played around for a while. He felt that the doppelganger, devouring soul, had entered the range of his panoramic perception. He immediately checked devouring soul's memories to see what kind of tricks the refined corpses were playing. Chapter 567. Devouring Spirit had been monitoring the refined corpses hiding in the Yinchi cave. From his memories he knew that the cave was called the Ghost Cave. It was said that the space below the cave was huge and was connected to a natural 4th-level Yin vein. 14 hours ago, Devouring Spirit saw 6 refined corpses coming straight to the Ghost Cave from the west. There were originally 4 refined corpses trapped in the Ghost Cave. The 3 demonic beasts that were killed by the refined corpses had turned into walking corpses. There were 15 4th-level demonic beasts guarding outside the Ghost Cave. Although the demonic beasts had the advantage in numbers, they were only 4th-level demonic beasts. When the two sides fought, the 4th-level upper-level refined corpses showed their might and no demonic beast could stop them. After 6 hours of fierce fighting, 5 demonic beasts died and the rest were all injured. The refined corpses also suffered losses. The 3 walking corpses were burned to ashes by the fire-attributed demonic beasts. The other 3 fourth-level lower-level refined corpses were also killed. The demonic beasts no longer had the courage to fight and were preparing to flee. Fortunately, a 4th-level upper-level black flame tiger came from the sky-chopping mountain range and blocked the 4th-level upper-level refined corpse. The black flame tiger was a fire-attributed demonic beast and Wang Daoyuan was not unfamiliar with it. In the past, the Netherworld sect fought with the cruel Sun Palace for the share of the Spirit Stone mine. He once fought with a half-demonic beast called Black Flame. He was a half-demonic beast with the bloodline of the Black Flame Tiger. The Black Flame he used was extraordinary and the Black Flame Tiger's innate ability was naturally not weak. In the end, the Black Flame Tiger heavily injured the 4th-level upper-level refined corpse. However, it also suffered some injuries and was unable to take down the 4th-level upper-level refined corpse. They escaped into the ghost cave. Although the Black Flame Tiger's injuries were not serious, its wounds were contaminated with corpse and death energy. It would not heal in a short time. It did not dare to continue guarding the ghost cave and could only return to its nest to recuperate. Since the Black Flame Tiger had escaped, the rest of the 4th-level lower-level demonic beasts did not dare to continue guarding the ghost cave. Those who had clans fled with their clans, while those who didn't had to flee directly. The refined corpses hiding in the ghost cave would recover quickly. If there were no other 4th-level upper-level demonic beasts, the refined corpses would be able to run rampant. Zhou Luan saw that Wang Daoyuan was deep in thought and asked, "Did the devouring spirit discover something?" Wang Daoyuan nodded and repeated what Devourer had seen. Then he said, "Fortunately the Black Flame Tiger blocked the refined corpse and gave the demonic beasts a chance to retreat. Otherwise, the demonic beasts would scatter in all directions, and a beast tide would be right in front of them. Even now, with a portion of the demonic beasts heading south, the Heavenly/Mountain Range would not be peaceful. Even though the refined corpses were injured, they would be able to fully recover after staying in the Netherworld cave for 3 to 5 years. At that time it will be another big problem." Zhou Luan was also somewhat worried and asked, "How should we deal with this? Do you need me to make a move?" Wang Daoyuan comforted him, "Don't worry, I have no problem dealing with these demonic beasts." Then he sent a message to his 3rd brother, Wang Daochang, telling him that the demonic beasts might affect Fallen Dragon Ridge. He told him to inform the clansmen at Fallen Dragon Ridge to make preparations. Now Wang Daoyuan was not in the mood to discuss the issue of life with Zhou Luan. He had to seize the time to improve his strength. His cultivation had just broken through to the middle stage of the Golden Core realm, and there would not be any obvious improvement in a short period of time. His natal magic artifact was nurtured by spiritual fire, and its growth speed was extremely fast. It was already a mid-grade 4th-level weapon. It was difficult to improve other spells and comprehension in a short period of time. The most reliable method to improve his strength greatly in a short period of time was to cultivate the Nirvana Secret Technique and the Red Phoenix Fire Defense Escape Technique that Zhou Luan gave him. With the Nirvana Secret Technique, it was equivalent to having an extra life. When facing an opponent of equal or even slightly stronger strength, this was the trump card to win. A month later, he had mastered the Nirvana Secret Technique and the Red Phoenix Fire Defense Escape Technique. The Nirvana Secret Technique was an extremely expensive method, so naturally he could not really use it. He just needed to familiarize himself with it. The Red Phoenix Fire Defense Escape Technique was more advanced than the Cloud Mist Escape Technique, but it was also a 4th-level escape technique, so the difficulty was not much different. During this month, he had been cultivating the escape technique in the lava lake below the cave abode. The 3rd-level superior-grade lava did not pose much of a threat to him. The results of his cultivation were also very obvious. With his current level, coupled with the Red Phoenix Nirvana Fire, his escape speed was much faster than the Cloud Mist Escape Technique. Now that he had mastered the Red Phoenix Fire Defense Escape Technique, he no longer had any reliable methods to improve it. He could only take a gamble and use the essence of the Abhijna Secret Technique to nurture the Purple Mansion phenomenon. If he was lucky and suddenly comprehended a lesser Abhijna Secret Technique, it would be a huge gain. Even if he did not comprehend a lesser Abhijna Secret Technique, he could still strengthen the Purple Mansion phenomenon. When the Purple Mansion phenomenon strengthened, the Divine Beast charm that he comprehended would also be strengthened. Especially when the Purple Mansion resonated, its power would be greatly increased. The Purple Mansion phenomenon was a manifestation of a law. The other factions were only researching how to use the Purple Mansion phenomenon to improve their strength. However, he had never heard of a method to strengthen the Purple Mansion phenomenon. In this aspect, the Valley of Beasts could be said to be at the forefront. If the Valley of Beasts could continue, he might be able to open up a new cultivation path. Wang Daoyuan guided a wisp of life spirit fire into his sea of consciousness, then used the secret technique to merge it with the Azure Dragon phenomenon. After more than 10 days, he finally felt that his Azure Dragon phenomenon had improved a little. The divine beast charm of the Azure Dragon had also strengthened a little. The spiritual fire essence that he had consumed over the past few days added up to 10 times the amount of spiritual energy in his body. If not for the lava providing him with an endless supply of spiritual energy, he would not have been able to endure it. If this amount of spiritual energy was converted into spiritual stones, it should be more than 500,000 spiritual stones. Spiritual fire essence was not something that ordinary spiritual energy could compare to. If he directly consumed the spiritual energy in spiritual stones, it would not have such a strong effect. No wonder the essence of the Abhijna secret technique said that this secret technique consumed a lot of resources. It was indeed a ridiculous amount. Furthermore, this investment could be a bottomless pit. After investing a huge amount of resources, the probability of not comprehending a lesser Abhijna secret technique in the end was not small. The 5-spirit immortal transformation art emphasized balance the most. He could not only nurture the Azure Dragon phenomenon, but also the other 4 divine beast phenomenons. After spending more than a month, he strengthened all the divine beast phenomenons. The situation of the vermilion bird phenomenon was similar to his previous manifestation technique. Using the Scarlet Wand's Nirvana fire to strengthen the vermilion bird phenomenon achieved the same results. However, only 1/3 of the spiritual fire essence was consumed. During these 3 months, there were not many changes in the heavenly/mountain range. The Thunder Ape and Yun Yi were able to deal with some level 2 and level 3 demon beasts. Wang Daoyuan was about to continue strengthening the Purple Mansion phenomenon when he sensed a golden core cultivator's spiritual energy fluctuation from the west of the Jade Spring Peak. He immediately left the Earth Fire Room and went outside the mountain to welcome him. When he got closer, he realized that it was Gu Wangzong. Wang Daoyuan welcomed him to the family's hall. The two of them sat down as the host and the guest. Before Wang Daoyuan could ask, Gu Wangzong cupped his hands and said, "The 3 forts of Wuqing Pass have been breached. The Song cultivators have already reached the back of Wuqing Pass. Now both sides are fighting a war of attrition. The 5 grand elders of the sect have already rushed to Wuqing Pass. Administrator, please send some cultivators to reinforce them." Wang Daoyuan cursed in his heart. This was a case of blessings do not come in pairs, and misfortunes do not come singly. He had just abducted Zhou Wan to Jade Spring Peak and was about to enjoy it after 200 years. Just as he was about to enjoy it, the refined corpses caused trouble. Now there was another problem at Wuqing Pass. There were so many troublesome matters. However, it was impossible for him to reinforce them. When the Underworld sect had 7 golden core cultivators, they could not do anything to him. Now that there are only 2 golden core cultivators left, they want to force him to submit? He no longer feigned civility and directly refused, "I will not leave South Yen County and I can't leave." 3 months ago, 6 refined corpses moved out of the Mirror Lake secret realm. One of them was an upper-grade level 4 refined corpse. They met up with the 4 refined corpses and 3 walking corpses in the Ghost Cave and fought with the demon beast. After killing 5 level 4 demon beasts, the low-level demon beasts fled in all directions. The Wang family's properties are being harassed by demon beasts. Those refined corpses were also injured and are hiding in the Ghost Cave to recover. Once they come out of the cave, they will most likely head south. At that time, the entire South Yen County may turn into a living hell. You want me to go to Wuqing Pass when the family is in danger? Is this a joke? Chapter 568. Hearing this, Gu Wangzong didn't look too good. Now that Zhao State was empty, once demonic beasts or refined corpses came in, the losses would be great. With this excuse, the administrator's mansion would never attack again. The consumption of Song State could only be borne by the Netherworld sect. He still wanted to struggle and asked, "Administrator, the sect doesn't have enough resources now. In the past 2 years, you must have noticed that the sect's resources transported to Qingli Market have been reduced by 30%. There are almost no medicinal pills for healing and restoring spiritual power. The consumption at the front line is great, and the sect doesn't have enough medicinal pills, let alone sell them. I wonder if the administrator's mansion can sell some of these medicinal pills?" The administrator's mansion was about to face a possible beast tide and refined corpses coming from the south. Qi refining cultivators couldn't get involved in this level of battle at all. Foundation establishment cultivators were also cannon fodder, and they didn't need too many level 1 or 2 healing medicinal pills. The healing medicinal pills produced in Yan'an County were usually sold to Guiyuan Market and Green Willow Province, and they didn't use many of them. It didn't matter who he sold it to. It didn't matter if he sold it to the Netherworld sect. Wang Daoyuan replied, "It's not a problem to sell level 1 or 2 healing medicinal pills, but what about the price?" In the past, these medicinal pills were sold to Green Willow Province and Guiyuan Market, and the price was 50% higher than the market price. Gu Wangzong hurriedly said, "The price is not a problem. We can also sell them 50% higher than the market price. Moreover, we can send a flying boat to Qingli Market to transport goods. I have one more thing to ask. In the early years, the administrator was able to refine level 3 Golden Thunder Demon destroying talismans. How is your level now?" "Recently, my talisman making level has improved, and now I can refine level 3 upper grade Golden Thunder Demon destroying talismans. What? Does the sect want to buy some?" Gu Wangzong nodded. "We do have this intention. In the battle at Wuqing Pass, the Golden Core cultivators haven't taken action yet. So far, the Foundation Establishment cultivators are the backbone, and the Zifu Realm cultivators are the main force. It's just that Song Yi, Emperor Song's sister, joined the Wind Snow Divine Palace, and her attainments in talismans are extremely high. Zhao State doesn't have an advantage in talismans. Sometimes a level 3 upper grade flying boat was destroyed by a level 3 upper grade talisman, and the 3 major sects suffered heavy losses. If the administrator still had talismans, the sect was willing to buy them at a high price. In addition, the sect can provide talisman paper and spiritual ink for you to refine the Golden Thunder Demon Extermination Talisman. What do you think?" The Netherworld sect's talisman crafting inheritance was not very good. It could not be compared to the Snow God Palace's ice attribute talismans. Wang Daoyuan naturally had no objections to this business. It was not easy to obtain Tier 3 talisman paper and spirit ink. The administrator's residence's foundation was still too weak and didn't have a stable production of Grade 3 phase. Previously, in order to improve his talisman crafting skills, he had used up more than half of the talisman papers that he had accumulated over the years. If he helped the Underworld sect refine talismans, he would be able to save a lot of talisman paper and talisman ink. Moreover, he could earn some spirit stones to purchase more raw materials from Shanbei. A great battle was coming, so they had to make more preparations. The future of the Zhao Kingdom was very chaotic. It could be the survival of the 3 major sects, or the revival of the Zhao Kingdom. It was also possible that the Song Kingdom would invade. With the Wang clan's current resources and manpower, they could at most expand their territory a little. There were more than 20 Golden Core cultivators in the 3 major sects, but it was still difficult to maintain the entire state of Zhao. Wang Daoyuan didn't have any thoughts about swallowing the entire state of Zhao. For the Wang clan, the revival of the 9th prince's bloodline was the best result. The Wang clan had made a great contribution. If he contributed a little more, the Wang clan would get the title of County Duke, and it wouldn't be a problem for them to expand their territory. If the 6th prince's bloodline was revived, the Wang clan would be suppressed. It would be better for the 3 major sects to continue to survive. The invasion of the Song Kingdom was the worst result, and it would be difficult for the Wang clan to survive. Therefore, it was in the Wang clan's long-term interest to deal with the Song Kingdom. It was in the long-term interest, and they could also gain a lot of immediate benefits. Wang Daoyuan naturally had no objections. He nodded and said, "I still have some Golden Thunder Demon Extermination talismans. I don't think you'll be interested in the low-grade Tier 3 talismans. As for the talismans, I don't need to refine low-grade talismans. I'll just refine Tier 3 talismans. However, how do you calculate the payment for the talismans?" When Gu Wangzong heard Wang Daoyuan agree, he was overjoyed and quickly said, "Administrator, this price is very fair. I have no objection. The sect will provide all the raw materials for the talismans, and the talisman success rate will be 30%. If the success rate is less than 30%, each talisman will be paid 20,000 spirit stones. If the success rate is more than 30%, each talisman will be paid 100,000 spirit stones. How many Tier 3 Golden Thunder Demon Extermination talismans do you have?" "I'll take them all." Wang Daoyuan nodded and said, "No problem. I'm very satisfied with this condition. Now I have 50 Tier 3 Golden Thunder Demon Extermination talismans in my hand. You can take them all." Gu Wangzong also took out 5 storage bags and handed them to Wang Daoyuan. He took the storage bags and scanned them with his divine sense. There were indeed 50,000 mid-grade spirit stones inside. He took out 50 Golden Thunder Demon Extermination Talismans and handed them to Gu Wangzong. Gu Wangzong took the talismans and cupped his hands. The situation ahead is urgent. I won't stay for long. The materials for the talismans will be sent to Qingli City every month. Goodbye. Then he rode a cloud to the west. Wang Daoyuan didn't immediately return to the cave residence in the Earth Fire Room. Instead, he went to the administration hall where the Patriarch and Grand Elder handled official business. 8th uncle and 9th aunt had passed away. The current Grand Elder was Wang Mingshan. Seeing him come in, Wang Mingshan immediately saluted. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "No need to be so polite. Recently, the Sky Beheading Mountain Range has not been peaceful. There may be a large number of Tier 2 and Tier 3 demonic beasts harassing there. It will be difficult to control the situation with just the Thunder Ape and Yunyi. The family must be prepared and make arrangements for the ordinary clansmen in Fallen Dragon Ridge. The cultivators left behind will also be given Tier 3 life-saving talismans to minimize the losses. The clansmen who are traveling outside will also be summoned back as soon as possible. We must be prepared to deal with a large-scale beast tide." Third brother sucked in a breath of cold air and asked, "Does this mean that there's going to be a beast tide?" Wang Daoyuan shook his head. "A beast tide may not necessarily appear. There are refined corpses in the north of the mountain that killed their way into the Sky Beheading Mountain Range, causing the demonic beasts to flee. Other than that, there are also man-made reasons. In short, South Yen County will not be peaceful for a period of time in the future. We must be prepared early to avoid being caught unprepared." He took out the spirit stones given by Gu Wangzong and said, "Take these spirit stones to the north of the mountain to buy all kinds of spiritual items. The war is about to start, and the war will be the family's foundation. It's time to stockpile more resources." The administrator's residence had also stockpiled many spiritual items in case of emergency. They kept about 1% of the resources that passed through their hands. Since the war at Wuqing Pass started again, they kept even more spiritual items, reaching 5%. The spiritual items that they had stockpiled over the years were worth 5 to 6 million spirit stones. However, once the war started, no matter how many resources they prepared, it might not be enough. The more prepared they were, the higher their chances of winning. The third brother took the storage bag and nodded. He returned to the cave abode at the bottom of the Earth Fire Chamber and continued to cultivate the secret technique to strengthen the Purple Mansion phenomenon. Refining spiritual talismans was not a big deal. He could refine a Tier 3 superior-grade Golden Lightning Demon Destruction Talisman in an hour. When he was tired from cultivating the secret technique, he could refine 4 or 5 talismans. His talisman success rate had already exceeded 60%, and he could produce 2 to 3 talismans every day. As long as he had enough materials, he could reach Tier 3 in alchemy, smithing, and talisman. The speed at which he earned spirit stones was extremely terrifying. Unfortunately, what the cultivation world lacked the most was spiritual items above Tier 3. Wang Daoyuan cultivated the secret technique in the cave abode every day and made time to refine spiritual talismans. After more than a month, the third brother sent a letter. Someone in the Green Willow continent claimed to be an old friend of the Hidden Cloud continent and the 9th Prince's special envoy. He wanted to meet Wang Daoyuan. The old friend of the Hidden Cloud continent was Shi Jinbang. The 9th Prince's special envoy was here to convey the 9th Prince's message. Chapter 569. Wang Daoyuan put on the Black Devil's robe and arrived at the market on Jingtai Mountain. Ever since the administrator's office and the Green Willow province began to do business openly, the small market on Jingtai Mountain, as a place for the exchange of goods, had also prospered. Currently there were 50 to 60 shops on Jingtai Mountain. The administrator's residence also had 10 Foundation establishment cultivators stationed here, but they hadn't established a Guardian residence yet. The Guardian Palace was in charge. Wang Daoyuan came to the restaurant where he had a meeting with Shi Jinbang and asked for a private room. He revealed a trace of Golden Core Cultivator's spirit energy. Soon, an early-stage Golden Core Cultivator walked over from the east. It was Shi Jinbang. The last time they met, he was already at the late-stage Violet Palace realm, only a step away from the peak. With the guidance of the Shi clan's ancestor and no lack of resources, it wasn't strange for him to reach the core formation realm after 20 years. His concealment technique was very good. Normal Golden Core cultivators wouldn't be able to see his true cultivation. After arriving at the private room, Shi Jinbang cupped his hands and said, "Greetings, Daoyu. It's only been 20 years since we last met, and Daoyu's already at the mid-stage Golden Core realm. Even the direct disciples of the 4 top factions can't compare to your cultivation speed." Wang Daoyuan didn't hide his cultivation. He naturally had to show his strength when doing business. Besides, he could hide his cultivation without fighting. Once he fought, it would be hard to hide it. There wasn't much point in hiding it. He smiled and said, "Dao, you don't have to flatter me. Weren't you only at the late-stage Violet Palace realm last time? To be able to reach the peak of the Violet Palace realm in less than 20 years, your talent is quite good. You call yourself the 9th Prince's special envoy, so you must have the 9th Prince's decree. Don't beat around the bush. Just say it." Shi Jinbang replied, "The administrator is well informed. You should know about the situation at Wuxia Pass. What do you plan to do?" The future of the war between the two countries was uncertain. After all, the situation on the battlefield was constantly changing. Any small change could affect the final outcome. However, he still pretended to be confident. There's nothing much to see at Wuxia Pass. The three sects are strong, but they can't work together. Although Song Yan controlled the Song Kingdom and had made ample preparations, the foundation of the Song Kingdom was still weak. Now that they were engaged in a war of attrition, no matter which side won, they would suffer heavy losses. No one had the ability to completely defeat the loser. If the three sects were defeated, they would probably only lose Wuxia County. The Song Nation did not dare to start a war in the hinterland of the Zhao Nation. One Wuxia County was enough for the Song Nation to digest for 100 years. Behind them, Qi, Chu, and Wu were also eyeing them covetously. The Song Kingdom could not afford to delay any longer. Even if the state of Zhao won, they would still ask for resources like they did 100 years ago. Linhai State was still the one that could decide the situation in Zhao. At this time, Wuxia Pass had reached the stage of a life-and-death battle. Most of the forces of the three major sects were stalled at Wuxia Pass. The forces of the 6th Prince and Lord Linhai went upstream along the Wanchuan River and directly attacked the hinterland of Zhao State. Only when the Song Nation used all its might would they have a chance to take down the three sections. "Since the 9th Prince asked you to come see me at this time, you must have discussed it with Linhai Prefecture and wanted to pull me in." Seeing Shi Jinbang's pale face, Wang Daoyuan heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that his conjecture was correct. Shi Jinbang sighed and said, "Daoyu's foresight is indeed divine. What you said is roughly the same as the plan. The 9th Prince sent me to ask Daoyu's opinion. When the time comes, do you want to set things right, remain neutral, or die with the underworld sect?" Wang Daoyuan showed a mocking expression. "I wonder who will be the leader of the Zhao family? Will it be the 9th Prince or the long-legged prince?" Shi Jinbang showed a difficult expression. "Of course it will be His Majesty. His Majesty promised that the 9th Prince will be the crown prince after the restoration of the Zhao nation." Wang Daoyuan did not hide it at all. He mocked, "The long-legged prince still looks like he can't be seen in public. He only gave an empty promise. Even his own brother is like this. In his eyes, the Wang family is a rebel. How can we have a good ending? The long-legged prince's moral character was a mess when he had a good hand in the past. 500 years have passed. Some of the golden core cultivators he took with him back then should have already passed away. It will be difficult for him to raise a large number of golden core cultivators with just the power of Linhai. His current strength will only be weaker than it was back then. This time he might not even be able to keep his life. No matter what the future of the Zhao nation is, I will always consider the interests of the Wang family. If I help the long-legged prince, not only will I lose a large number of clansmen, but I might also be punished later. It's better for me to take some benefits from the underworld sect and follow orders to put down the rebellion." Shi Jinbang was not worried but happy. He asked, "If the 9th Prince starts a rebellion, what will Daoyu do?" Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, "Daoyu is finally talking about business. If the 9th Prince's strength is similar to that of the three major sects, I will naturally be willing to help the 9th Prince. If the difference is too great, then the Wang family can only protect the family." After receiving Wang Daoyuan's promise, Shi Jinbang smiled. "It's good to hear Daoyu say that. The Wang family saved His Majesty back then and killed 5 golden core cultivators of the Savage Sun Palace. In the end, they sacrificed most of their cultivators for the Zhao family. The 9th Prince often says that the Zhao family is ashamed of the Wang family. If the Zhao nation recovers one day, the Wang family will be bestowed with the title of king." Wang Daoyuan waved his hand. "There's no need to exaggerate. Zhou Jingyuan also promised me that he would be bestowed with the title of king. I don't believe in that. For the sake of our past relationship, I will give the 9th Prince a warning. The three major sects are not fools, especially the Myriad Spirit sect, which is the most sinister. In the past 500 years, the Myriad Spirit sect rarely took action, but they played the Savage Sun Palace and the Underworld sect. The Myriad Spirits sect has a larger territory and more resources than the other two sections. After the Zhao family was defeated, they had the strongest foundation. But on the surface they only have 9 golden core cultivators, 2 more than the Underworld sect. Including me, they only have 1 more. One can imagine how many backup plans the Myriad Spirit sect has secretly left behind. Don't forget that the Myriad Spirit sect plays with beasts. If they hide a golden core cultivator, they must have a 4th level spirit beast, which is the combat power of 2 golden core cultivators. The Underworld sect is good at refining corpses and controlling ghosts. These things do not have a lifespan limit. No one knows how much wealth they have left behind over the years. Although the Savage Sun Palace seems to be the most dazed and has been fighting a war of attrition with the Wei Nation at the Cold River Pass these years, they seem to be the weakest. But back then they were the strongest among the 3 major sects, so they must have some wealth. Don't underestimate them. Shi Zhenbang nodded and said with a smile, "Thank you, Dao Yu, for the reminder. I will definitely tell the 9th prince. I came this time not only to sound out Dao Yu, but also for an important matter." Then he took out 2 jade bottles and a storage bag. Wang Daoyuan scanned with his divine perception and asked, "Dragon Pearl Chalcedony and Yin Yang Purple Jade. 9th Prince, what do you mean by this?" The Dragon Pearl Chalcedony was the essence extracted from pseudo-dragon balls. The Dragon Pearl Chalcedony extracted from a 3rd-level Dragon Ball could allow an early-stage Foundation Establishment cultivator to reach the peak of Foundation Establishment in a short time. Moreover, this thing could improve a cultivator's foundation. Although it could not directly increase the talent of the spirit root, it could still speed up cultivation. However, pseudo-dragon balls were extremely valuable. After the Dragon Pearl Chalcedony was extracted, the pseudo-dragon balls were useless. Cultivators with good talent did not need such things at all. Cultivators with poor talent were not even worth as much as pseudo-dragon balls. Very few people were willing to destroy pseudo-dragon balls to extract the Dragon Pearl Chalcedony. Shi Zhenbang smiled and said, "Although the first prince was defeated, it was not his fault. His grandson Zhao Liang was not talented and married into the Wang family, but he was still the eldest son of the Zhao family. As Zhao Liang's granduncle, how could the 9th prince watch as his grandnephew's lifespan was exhausted? This Dragon Pearl Chalcedony and Yin Yang Purple Jade were used to increase the cultivation of Zhao Liang and his wife. Zhao Liang and his 8th sister Wang Daoshu were about the same age as Wang Daoyuan. They were both Foundation Establishment cultivators and only had a lifespan of 240 years. Now they were already around 220 years old and did not have much time left. Wang Daoyuan's expression turned solemn as he asked, "I wonder if your highness wants Zhao Liang to return to the clan, or do you want to replace the Wang clan?" Chapter 570. In the Underworld sect's territory, the Wang clan only listened to orders and didn't listen to orders. The cultivators of Yan'an County had both merits and demerits, so the Underworld sect could only put it on the head of the administrator's residence. They couldn't bypass the administrator's residence and directly reward or punish them. The power of rewarding and punishing cultivators was the power of life and death. It was the most fundamental power of a ruler. If you didn't have this power, who would listen to you? The power of life and death in Yan'an County was in the hands of Wang Daoyuan, not the Underworld sect's sect master. When he wanted to deal with the 3 clans, the Underworld sect had no right to stop him. They could only discuss it with Wang Daoyuan. Because of the Wang clan's strong backing, the Underworld sect didn't even have the power to mobilize them. The Wang clan didn't listen to orders and only submitted to the Underworld sect in name. The 9th prince didn't give anything to the Wang clan, but directly gave it to someone in the Wang clan. This was taking away Wang Daoyuan's power of life and death. When the Zhao clan revives, the Wang clan will no longer have any autonomy. They risked the extermination of their clan and followed the 9th prince to fight the 3 great sections. In the end, their interests would be seriously damaged. This was a losing and fatal business. Even a fool wouldn't do it. Shi Zhenbang was also a shrewd person. When he heard this, he knew that Wang Daoyuan thought the 9th prince wanted to seize power. He hurriedly explained, "Dao Yu, don't misunderstand. The 9th prince has no intention of interfering with the Wang clan's domestic affairs. The 9th prince and the 1st prince are close brothers and don't want the 1st prince to die. This is just a gift from the 9th prince as a granduncle to his grandnephew and granddaughter-in-law. He has no other intentions. Either Zhao Liang or one of Zhao Liang's descendants could be chosen to acknowledge their ancestors and ancestors. Even if it's a mortal, it's fine as long as it can continue the 1st prince's bloodline. Of course, it's all up to Dao Yu. Since it didn't affect the Wang clan's future status, it was easy to talk about. Wang Daoyuan smiled. It's good that you have such intentions. Unfortunately, the three great sects still rule Zhao. If we allow Zhao Liang or his descendants to acknowledge their ancestors, it would be no different from openly going against the three great sections. Let's wait for the Zhao clan to recover before we discuss this matter. With that said, he took out 50 golden lightning demon exterminating talismans and said, these talismans are enough to compensate for the Dragon Pearl Chalcedony and Yin Yang Purple Jade. Our Wang clan members don't need other people's spirit stones to raise their cultivation. If he took the Dragon Pearl Chalcedony and Yin Yang Purple Jade for free, it would be tantamount to admitting that the ninth prince had the right to kill the Wang family. In the future, after the Zhao clan reinstated the country, if someone used this matter to suppress the Wang clan, it would be hard for him to object. Shi Zhenbang didn't refuse. If he didn't accept these talismans, then it would mean that the ninth prince wanted to seize power, and the cooperation between the two families would be over. He took the golden lightning demon extermination talisman and smiled. I'll do as Dao Yu said. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave. Wang Daoyuan nodded and said, I won't see you out. Shi Zhenbang cupped his hands and left the Mirror Iron Mountain market. Wang Daoyuan also put away the Dragon Pearl Chalcedony and Yin Yang Purple Jade and left to return to the Jade Spring Peak. The ninth prince sent someone to say hello, which meant that the day of the battle was not far away. As long as the sixth prince had a trace of human intelligence, he wouldn't attack Yan'an County first. Even if he was a complete idiot, Lord Linhai wasn't stupid and would naturally stop him. Therefore there was no need to worry about the enemies in Linhai. The ninth prince's family wasn't stupid. If the sixth prince wasn't reliable, they wouldn't risk exposing themselves. At most, they would send a few masters who had nothing to do with the oasis to help. On the contrary, the Beiyuan sword sect in Shanbei needed to worry. These guys had pretended to be dead for more than 100 years. Who knew what they were up to? After the Zhao clan was defeated, the Golden Core masters fled. Even now, there was still a secret realm in the oasis, where at least 3 Golden Core cultivators were hiding. Were there no other Golden Core cultivators hiding in other places? Before the Zhao clan was destroyed, they had been running Shanbei for 1,000 years. At present, the 6th prince and the 9th prince had sent people to run Shanbei. They were so concerned about Shanbei that it couldn't be a joke. If Shanbei wanted to attack, the best choice was to cross Huiyan Mountain from the Guiyan Valley in the eastern area. They would directly attack the territory of Yan'an County, and the administrator's mansion would have to fight. A big battle was imminent, and they had to be prepared as soon as possible. At least they couldn't keep the existing Yin Yang Purple Jade. When the battle started, the Zifu realm cultivators were the core forces. On the administrator's mansion's side, there were at most 8 Zifu realm cultivators, and Wang Daojin was lurking in the Shanbei branch. The others were only some flying warships. The Thunder Ape and Yun Yi needed to guard Fallen Dragon Ridge and couldn't be moved easily. The only ones who were suitable to open up the Zifu realm in the Wang family were little uncle Wang Shoujia and Wang Mingshan. In addition, Zhao Liang and 8th sister were not good at fighting. However, after Zhao Liang and little uncle opened up the Zifu realm, the speed of refining flying warships would be much faster. This value was much higher than that of several Zifu realm cultivators who were good at fighting. Wang Mingshan was an alchemist. Even if his fighting strength was not good, he could still refine more pills. After returning to the Jade Spring Peak, Wang Daoyuan sent a message to Zhao Liang and 8th sister, asking them to come to the administration hall. Since the establishment of the Earth Fire Room, the focus of the Wang family's various industries had returned to the Jade Spring Peak. Zhao Liang and little uncle had been refining flying warships in the Earth Fire Room, and 8th sister naturally stayed in the Jade Spring Peak. The two soon arrived at the administration hall. Wang Daoyuan took out the Dragon Chalcedony and Yin Yang Purple Jade and said to Zhao Liang, the 9th prince sent someone to send these. They are for you and 8th sister to open up the Zifu realm. Hearing this, Wang Daochang and Wang Mingshan's expressions changed greatly. If Zhao Liang's identity was exposed, the Wang family would have to bear the risk of being punished by the underworld sect. Zhao Liang's expression also darkened. He hurriedly explained, I'm no longer a member of the Zhao family. I can't accept things from the Zhao family. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, don't worry. I used 50 high-grade Tier 3 Golden Lightning Demon Exterminating Talismans to exchange for these. They have nothing to do with the 9th prince. You're a mid-grade Tier 3 tool refiner, and 8th sister manages the various restaurants in the family. The two of you have contributed greatly. If you open up the Zifu realm, you can still serve the family for close to 300 years. This dragon chalcedony can allow your cultivation to quickly rise to the peak of foundation establishment. You still have 20 years, so the chances of you opening up the Zifu realm are not small. Put down your work and raise your cultivation first. Zhao Yang nodded. He took the dragon chalcedony and yin-yang purple jade and left the administration hall with 8th sister. Wang Daoyuan asked again, "How are little uncle and Mingshan's preparations?" The situation outside is constantly changing. The more Zifu realm the family has, the more power we have. Third brother Wang Daochang smiled and said, "The 12th uncle and I often give them pointers, but they still haven't comprehended the threshold of Zifu realm. I'm afraid they'll have to wait a few more days." Wang Daoyuan nodded and said, "In that case, let's wait a little longer. I'll go to Clear Glass City to deal with the administrator's estate." The upcoming war couldn't be fought by the Wang clan alone. All the clans in South Swallow County, as well as the rogue cultivators they recruited, had to participate. If they wanted to follow the administrator's estate wholeheartedly, they had to take out some good things to buy their hearts. Although the administrator's estate gave the clans some benefits, the foundation establishment pill that the clans cared about the most hadn't been given any rules. In these years, the monster execution department had killed many Tier 3 monsters and accumulated many foundation establishment pills. Now they could set the exchange rules. As for the cultivators of the monster execution department, they were all single men without any restraints. It would be difficult to subdue them. What they wanted the most was the yin-yang purple jade. The Wang clan didn't have enough for themselves, so it was impossible to give it to them. In addition to opening up the Zifu realm, the rogue cultivators wanted to establish a clan the most. This could be satisfied. After all, the administrator's estate had destroyed the Kong clan of Rubble Peak and the 3 clans of Return Wind Valley. They had obtained some spirit veins and mines, as well as many shops in the various markets that hadn't been rented out. Spirit veins, mines and shops could all be promised. Those with permanent property had perseverance. With these properties, the rogue cultivators wouldn't be afraid of not being able to subdue them. Chapter 571. Wang Daoyuan went to the administrator's residence in Clear Glass Market and found his 5th granduncle and the vice hall master of the Treasury Hall, Wang Mingji, to announce the new policy. After the two of them arrived at the conference hall, he said, "Zhao State will soon be in turmoil again. I've already notified the clan, and the administrator's residence also needs to make preparations. Now, how many foundation building pills does the administrator's residence have?" Wang Mingji stood up and said, "In these past years, the cultivators of the Demon Execution Department have killed more than 123rd-ranked demonic beasts and obtained 110 demonic cores. These demonic cores were all refined into foundation-building pills by the Great Elder, and a total of 682 pills were produced. Half of them are in the clan, and the remaining 341 pills are under the administrator's residence's name." Wang Daoyuan nodded and said, "Within 3 months, take out 30 foundation-building pills for auction and calm the hearts of the clans. Mingji, you'll be in charge of this matter. In the future, you can auction 30 foundation-building pills every 60 years. This matter will also be handled by the Treasury Hall." Wang Mingji replied, "Yes, I'll go back and make preparations for the auction." Wang Daoyuan pondered for a moment and said, "In addition, I want to establish a contribution system. In the future, the cultivators under the administrator's residence will no longer be directly given spirit stones, but contribution points. Just like the clan's contribution points, 1 contribution point can be exchanged for 1 spirit stone. The rewards given to cultivators for their contributions will all be changed to contribution points. The cultivators of the administrator's residence can use contribution points to exchange for medicinal pills, talismans, magic tools and formation discs. In addition, the spirit veins, mines and shops under the administrator's residence can all be exchanged with contribution points. However, important materials like foundation building pills need to have some restrictions and can't be casually exchanged for. In addition, spirit stones can also be exchanged for contribution points, but it requires 2 spirit stones to exchange for 1 contribution point. Those clans or cultivators who don't want to contribute to the administrator's residence and want to exchange for foundation-building pills will have to be prepared to suffer. The contribution system will be temporarily managed by the Treasury Hall. When there's a need to establish an organization in the future, the ownership will be determined again. Mingji, go and prepare these matters first. If you don't have enough people, you can take some from the clan's Treasury Hall." Wang Mingji nodded and left the conference hall. 5th great uncle asked, "You made so many important decisions all of a sudden. What happened?" Wang Daoyuan replied, The ninth prince sent Shizhenbang to probe my background, to ask about the Zhao family's uprising and our Wang family's attitude. He also gave Zhao Liang and eighth sister the Dragon Pearl Chalcedony and Yin Yang Purple Jade to help them open up their Zifu. Fifth great uncle pondered for a moment. It seems that the Zhao family is going to take action soon. How did you reply? My reply is that the sixth prince is the leader. Our Wang clan will help the Netherworld sect. The ninth prince is the leader. As long as the difference in strength isn't too great, we'll help the ninth prince. I'm afraid that Zhao Liang's matter is just a test by the ninth prince to determine our Wang clan's future position. He gave Shizhenbang 53rd grade high-grade golden lightning demon exterminating talismans. Even if the ninth prince revives the country in the future, he can forget about touching our Wang clan's territory. Fifth great uncle nodded. You did the right thing. If you take advantage of the ninth prince, you may be in a very passive position in the future. What do you plan to do with the power of the governor's residence? The sixth prince's forces will most likely go upstream along the Wanchuan River. Their main targets will be the various markets on the Wanchuan River and the mountain gates of the three major sections. Yunnan County is located in the wilderness, so there's no point in attacking us. The only thing we need to guard against is the Zhao family's power in Shanbei. The sixth prince is running the Beiyuan sword sect, and the ninth prince also has secret forces in Shanbei. Shanbei is definitely not as simple as it seems. There's most likely a golden core cultivator in the Zhao family. When the time comes, you just need to take some people to watch over Qingli Market. The family has the 12th uncle in Zhouwan, so there won't be any problems. They won't dare to touch Guiyin Market, so I'll guard Jinyan City. As for the people of the Devil Execution Department, slowly reduce the number of times they attack. Send some of them to Jinyan City. That's all we can do. We'll just wait for the sixth prince to take action. Fifth great uncle nodded in agreement. Wang Daoyuan handed over some other trivial matters and returned to Yuchuan Peak. In the cave abode at the bottom of the earth fire chamber, he continued to cultivate the secret technique and strengthen his purple mansion avatar. In the future battles, the real deciding factor was still him, the only golden core cultivator who could show up. A year later, Zhao Liang and eighth sister both reached the peak of foundation establishment. Previously, they were already at the 8th stage of foundation establishment. Wang Daoyuan also provided them with inky jade lotus seeds and other elixirs. Coupled with the effects of the dragon jade marrow, their cultivation improved at such a rapid speed. Now, there were 4 peak foundation establishment cultivators who had yet to comprehend the Purple Mansion realm. Wang Daoyuan didn't want to wait like this. When he used the secret technique to strengthen his Purple Mansion avatar, his entire head would emit a purple light, and the strengthening avatar would also appear. 4 cultivators who had yet to establish their Purple Mansion. This was an excellent opportunity to comprehend the Purple Mansion realm. He called the 4 of them to his cave abode outside. After the 4 of them arrived, Wang Daoyuan said, "Next, I'll use the secret technique to help you comprehend the Purple Mansion realm. Comprehend it well and don't miss this opportunity." Then he used the secret technique to nurture the Azure Dragon avatar with his life spirit fire. His entire head flickered with a dazzling purple light, and a 1-foot-long Azure Dragon avatar circled above his head. After half a year, the 4 of them had comprehended the Purple Mansion realm and were able to establish their Purple Mansion. Wang Daoyuan let out a sigh of relief and said, "Go and prepare. Adjust your state to the best and establish your Purple Mansion as soon as possible." The 4 of them left and prepared to establish their Purple Mansion. In the past 2 years, there hadn't been any changes in the Green Willow province. However, Zhouwan's intelligence system found that the Guiyuan sword sect's vicinity was more lively. There were many cultivators entering the Guiyuan sword sect's mountain gate. There was also an obvious increase in the number of cultivators coming from the Linhai province to the west of the Sky Beheading Mountain range to do business. There were definitely people from the Sixth Prince's faction mixed in with these people. Since he had already decided to kill the Sixth Prince's faction, Wang Daoyuan naturally couldn't let them succeed. He directly reported the news to the Netherworld sect and asked them to take precautions. At the same time, he also asked them to provide support to Gold Goose City. A month later, Zhao Liang and the other 3 were ready to establish their Purple Mansion. Every time a cultivator broke through, the clan would send people to protect them. The clan's cultivation, pill refining and tool refining would all be affected. Instead of troubling them 4 times, it was better to trouble them once. The 4 of them were ready to establish their Purple Mansion on the same day. The Jade Spring Mountain had 2 Golden Core Realm cultivators and 2 Purple Mansion Realm cultivators. Even if there was a problem, they would be able to remedy it in time. The yin-yang purple jade was already prepared, so establishing the embryonic form of the purple mansion wouldn't be a problem. However, he still had to pay attention to the inner demon tribulation. Little uncle Wang Shoujia, eighth sister, and Wang Mingshan hadn't experienced any major changes, so the inner demon tribulation wouldn't affect them too much. However, Zhao Liang's inner demon tribulation couldn't be avoided. Wang Daoyuan had no use for the imperial demon pendant refined by his master using the profound ice jade essence. Now it was in Zhao Liang's hands to help him resist the inner demon tribulation. The four of them began to establish their purple mansion. Wang Daoyuan also sat cross-legged beside the jade dragon spring, intimidating everyone. 2 days later, 4 dazzling purple lights appeared one after another. 6 hours later, the purple light reached its peak. Then, 4 embryonic purple mansion appeared one after another. Among them, Zhao Liang's embryonic purple mansion was the smallest, with a diameter of only a little more than an inch. Eighth sister's embryonic purple mansion was slightly better, but it was less than 2 inches. Little uncle Wang Shoujia was slightly stronger, with an embryonic purple mansion of 2 inches and 4 centimeters. The most talented one was Wang Mingshan, with an embryonic purple mansion of 3 inches and 2 centimeters. Around Wang Mingshan's embryonic purple mansion, a pure green spiritual energy appeared. Then this spiritual energy turned into a green flood dragon, which should be a green flood dragon. Its appearance was good, similar to the green flood dragon that Wang Daoyuan killed. Chapter 572. Wang Mingshan was the great-grandson of Wang Daoyuan's elder brother. Back then it was Wang Daoyuan who tested his spiritual root. He had 3 spiritual roots, and his main spiritual root was the 7.5-inch wood spiritual root. His talent was about the same as his 5th great-uncle's. It was uncertain whether he would be able to produce a violet palace anomaly. For example, his second brother, Wang Daoxing, was also a cultivator with 3 spiritual roots who had a 7-inch main spiritual root. However, there was no sign of the Purple Palace realm phenomenon. Who would have thought that Wang Mingshan's Violet Palace manifestation would be the jade-scaled flood dragon? In the Wang clan, the Purple Palace realm avatar of a quasi-divine beast was only inferior to Wang Daoyuan, Zhou Wan, and the 12th uncle. It was even stronger than 5th uncle's dragonfish avatar. Of course, his 27th brother, Wang Daojian's sword phenomenon was rather special. It was hard to say whether it was strong or weak. Since Wang Mingshan had this purple mansion anomaly, the probability of him forming his gold core in the future was not small. His talent was high enough, and he was also his great-nephew's grandson. Whether it was for public or private reasons, he should focus on nurturing him. The jade-scaled flood dragon quickly transformed into a flood dragon tattoo and condensed on Wang Mingshan's Zifu. Soon after, a gray mist figure appeared beside the embryonic form of the Violet Palace. As for the other 3, small gray mist figures appeared beside their embryonic Violet Palace realm embryonic forms. All that was left was the inner demon tribulation. Wang Mingshan's soul only stayed outside the Purple Mansion for a few dozen breaths before it entered the embryonic form of the Purple Mansion. Then Wang Mingshan's Purple Palace hall descended, and he began to absorb spiritual energy. Jade Spring Peak had a water attribute spirit vein, so there wasn't much wood attribute spirit energy. However, the Violet Palace realm had already been formed, and the breakthrough was complete. When it came to absorbing spiritual energy, it didn't matter how fast or slow it was. It wouldn't matter even if it took 10 days to half a month. Little uncles and 8 sisters' souls quickly entered their Violet Mansions. After successfully opening their Violet Mansions, they began to absorb spiritual qi. Only Zhao Liang's soul remained outside the embryonic form of the Violet Palace, unable to enter. When he was building his foundation, he was disturbed by the inner demon and had to rely on the profound ice jade essence to build his foundation. The Violet Mansion Heart Devil Tribulation was a trial of life and death for him. If it wasn't for the Imperial Magic Pendant, he might have already died. With the demon-resisting pendant, inner demons couldn't hurt him. However, to transcend the inner demon tribulation, he still needed to defeat his own inner demons. If he couldn't defeat his inner demon, then he would become a quasi-Violet Palace realm cultivator. During the Purple Mansion Heart Demon Tribulation, the heart demons were fully unleashed. Furthermore, he was suppressed to an extremely weak level by the magic-resisting pendant. This was the best opportunity for him to defeat his inner demons. Half a day passed. Wang Mingshan and the other 2 had stopped absorbing spiritual energy, and their cultivations had all reached the early stage of the Zifu realm. Little uncle and Wang Mingshan continued to stay in the cave to consolidate their cultivation, but 8th sister ran out. Previously, she already had the appearance of an old woman. Now that she had broken through, her lifespan had been extended by more than 200 years, turning her into a middle-aged woman. She came to the Jade Dragon Spring and asked Wang Daoyuan, "Seventh brother, how is Zhao Liang now?" Wang Daoyuan replied, "Inner demons are very serious, and the inner demon tribulation is a bit difficult to deal with." This was also a good thing. If the inner demon was completely suppressed by the demon-resisting pendant, then he wouldn't have the chance to get rid of it. Don't worry, his life is not in danger, and there is a high possibility that he can defeat his inner demon. Don't disturb him now, give him some time. Hearing this, eighth sister felt a little better. She knew that she couldn't help, so she didn't dare to go over. She could only stay by the Jade Dragon Spring anxiously. A day later, Zhao Liang's soul finally stood up and walked towards the fledgling stage of the Purple Mansion. A door appeared on the fledgling stage of the Purple Mansion, and the soul walked in. Eighth sister cried tears of joy. She didn't go over to disturb Zhao Liang, but returned to the cave to consolidate her cultivation. Wang Daoyuan also heaved a sigh of relief. The Wang family suddenly had 4 more Purple Mansion realm cultivators. Wang Mingshan also had a half-divine beast avatar and had the potential to form his core. Such a grand occasion had never happened even in the 3 major sections. Half a day later, Zhao Liang walked out of the cave. At this moment, he had also changed from an old man to a middle-aged man. After overcoming the inner demon tribulation, the inner demon would dissipate on its own, and his essence, energy and spirit would be different. Next, the Purple Mansion Grand Ceremony and other matters would be handled by the clansmen. The grand occasion of the Wang family having 4 Purple Mansions in a day quickly spread throughout South Yen County. Wang Daoyuan didn't care about the outside matters anymore. After greeting them, he returned to the cave at the bottom of the earth fire chamber. After entering the cave, he saw Zhou Luan wearing a man's white robe. Her hair was tied up with a carefree scarf, and she didn't wear any makeup. She really looked like an elegant young master. When she saw Wang Daoyuan enter, she said in a man's voice, "Daoyu, greetings." Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "What a handsome young master. Why did you dress up like this?" Zhou Luan had a smug look on her face. "There's movement in the north and Wanchuan market again. When you go out to fight the enemy, I can also go and help. No matter how I disguise myself, no one will be able to recognize me with this outfit. When I go out and meet a beauty, I'll seduce her first so that you don't have to fool around." Wang Daoyuan had a look of admiration. "Not bad. You really know how to think for me. When the time comes, I'll bring the beauty back to Jade Spring Peak and we'll sleep together." Zhou Luan pinched the soft flesh on his waist a few times. "You're quite ambitious. You want to sleep together? How many beauties do you want to cover with your big quilt?" Wang Daoyuan hurriedly begged for mercy. "Hallmaster, please spare my life. We can talk about the beauties later. Let's talk about the child's rice bowl first. It was originally quite big, but now it's flattened. Let go, I'll untie it for you. Don't strangle the child's rice bowl." Zhou Luan let go of her hand. Wang Daoyuan picked her up and walked towards the boudoir. At this moment, a jade talisman in the universe ring emitted spiritual energy fluctuations. Wang Daoyuan scolded, "What's wrong with this group of bastards? They've already discussed it, haven't they? Every time I'm doing business they come to me. How many times has it been?" Zhou Luan smiled and said, "Look at you. There's still a long way to go. Let's deal with the business first." Wang Daoyuan put Zhou Luan down and took out the jade talisman. It was a message from the guardian of Guiyuan Market, Lu Yuan. It said that the sect master of Guiyuan Sword Sect, Li Qingyuan, wanted to see him. Wang Daoyuan said helplessly, "I'll go to the north of the mountain first. I'll come back after I kill Li Qingyuan. Wait at home." Then he left the cave residence with the white tiger blade and rode a cloud to Guiyuan Market. Entering the guardian's residence of Guiyuan Market, Lu Yuan was entertaining Li Qingyuan. Seeing him walk in, the two immediately bowed. Lu Yuan saw that his expression was unfriendly and that he was holding the white tiger blade in his hand. He didn't dare to say anything and sneaked out of the meeting hall. Li Qingyuan said, "Li Qingyuan, the sect master of Guiyuan Sword Sect, greets Wang Daoyu." This bastard was at the late stage of the Zifu realm, but he dared to call a middle stage Aurus Core cultivator Daoyu. Even half-demons below the Aurus Core level had to call him senior when they saw him. Where did this bastard get the courage to call him an equal? My plan was ruined by you, and I have nowhere to vent my anger. This bastard has hit the knife's edge. Wang Daoyuan said angrily, "What, the Guiyuan Sword Sect has stayed in the north of the mountain for so long that you've forgotten the etiquette of the human race?" Li Qingyuan looked unconvinced. I was ordered by His Majesty to come and talk to Dao Yu. As an imperial envoy, I represent His Majesty's face. His Majesty is the ruler and Dao Yu is the subject. Could it be that Dao Yu wants His Majesty to call you senior? Wang Daoyuan hurriedly waved his hand and said, "Watch your mouth. My Wang clan can't have such a useless descendant. The Lai Emperor really has a good temper. He gave birth to such a useless thing but he didn't kill him. Instead, he left him alive to destroy the Zhao clan's empire. If my Wang clan had such a descendant, even if he has a heavenly spiritual root and a spiritual body, I would cripple his cultivation and lock him up in the spiritual mountain. I wouldn't let him out for the rest of his life, so that he won't embarrass himself everywhere." Li Qingyuan heard this and slammed the table. "Wang Daoyuan, do you have any respect for your seniors? How dare you insult His Majesty?" Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and a gust of wind blew. Li Qingyuan flew back a few feet and hit the wall. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Wang Daoyuan pointed the white tiger blade at him and said coldly, "Not to mention you, even if the Long Legs Prince was in front of me, I wouldn't take him seriously." Calling him the Long Legs Prince was giving face to the Lai Emperor. "You're just a dog raised by the Long Legs Prince. Who do you think you are to call me by my name? If it weren't for the fact that the two countries are at war, you wouldn't have left this place alive. If you dare to be rude to me again, I'll kill you and then trample the Beiyuan sword sect." Chapter 573. Seeing that Wang Daoyuan was really angry, Li Qingyuan didn't dare to be arrogant anymore. He said honestly, "Junior is under His Majesty's order to ask Senior to attack the underworld sect. After this is done, His Majesty will forgive the Wang family for defecting and confer Senior the title of Marquis Yuchuan." These words made Wang Daoyuan so angry that he was amused. The long-legged prince, this idiot, already thought of himself as the ruler of Zhao. Conferring Marquis Yuchuan meant that the Wang family would be like the Zhao family before they were defeated, guarding the territory east of Qingli River and north of Qingxi River. They wouldn't have the authority to govern Yan'an County. Hearing this, he still felt that the Wang family was guilty when they were forced to surrender and wanted to punish them. The long-legged prince would only forgive the Wang family if they became the scapegoats for the Zhao family. This long-legged prince was at least 700 or 800 years old. These years were all in vain. He wanted to rope in the Wang family to work for him, but he wasn't even willing to draw a big pie. Anyone with a brain knew that to rope in other forces, they had to make all kinds of promises. Moreover, the promises had to be much bigger than the other party's current assets. Otherwise, who would be willing to work for you? The Wang family was now the ruler of a region, and their days were very comfortable. They had to follow the long-legged prince to attack the three major sections. Later they had to reduce their fiefs and limit their power. No one would do such a stupid thing if they had nothing better to do. The long-legged prince probably hated him for giving him such a nickname and wanted to disgust him. What could a person who wanted to plot against the country accomplish with such a small amount of tolerance? Most importantly, the long-legged prince had many Jindan stage subordinates of the Zhao family. He gave such a stupid order but no one dissuaded him. Did the long-legged prince's subordinates not dare to interfere, or did they not want to interfere? These people probably weren't of one mind with him. It would be strange if he could accomplish anything. Li Qingyuan saw that Wang Daoyuan's expression wasn't right. Afraid of being cut down, he hurriedly said, "These words weren't what I meant. They were all sent by His Majesty. I just repeated them as they were." Wang Daoyuan put away the white tiger blade and asked, "If you have anything else to say, say it all. I don't want to kill you in a fit of anger. If that happens, I'll have to search your soul." When Li Qingyuan saw him put away the white tiger blade, he heaved a sigh of relief. Hearing his words, his heart was in suspense again. He hurriedly said, "His Majesty asked you to take all your subordinates and wait in Golden Goose City." They joined forces with the forces of the Zhao family at the north of the mountain and attacked the underworld sect together. When attacking the mountain gate, the Wang family was the vanguard. "If Senior agrees, after destroying the three sects, I will confer upon you the title of Marquis Yuchuan. If you don't agree, then after destroying the three sects, we can attack the Wang family. That's all His Majesty's orders. I don't know anything else." Wang Daoyuan originally wanted to capture him and refine him into a clone, but he still wanted him to send a message back. There might be some old monster hiding in the Beiyuan sword sect. If he refined it into a clone and released it back, there was a risk that it would be exposed. There wasn't much point in killing a late-stage Zifu disciple. It was best to let him bring the message back. Li Qingyuan looked at him with an ominous expression and said, "Senior, this is His Majesty's original words, not mine. Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, I didn't say I wanted to kill you. I want you to send a message to whoever commands the north of the mountain. 2,000 miles west of Golden Goose City, all the way to the Sky Beheading Mountain Range in the east, is my territory. If you want to attack the mountain gate of the underworld sect, I don't care. But if you enter my territory, I don't mind killing a few Jindan stage cultivators for fun. That's all I have to say. Get out of here. Li Qingyuan hurriedly left the Guardian residence. Wang Daoyuan said a few words to Lu Yuan, then left the Guiyin market and went to Golden Goose City. This was the front line against the enemy. Its importance was self-evident. The Guardian residence of Golden Goose City was Shun Zhaoxing of the Shun family. Wang Daoyuan still had some things to tell him. When he arrived at the Guardian residence of Golden Goose City, Shun Zhaoxing immediately came out to greet him. Wang Daoyuan asked, how many cultivators are guarding Golden Goose City now? Shun Zhaoxing replied, now there are more than 50 foundation establishment cultivators and more than 200 qi refining cultivators. Are there enough bows and crossbows and spirit stones reserves to defend the city? Every year, the Jade Spring Peak sends a few demon exterminating crossbows of the 3rd grade and more than a dozen demon exterminating crossbows of the 2nd grade. There are 40 demon exterminating crossbows of the 3rd grade and 200 demon exterminating crossbows of the 2nd grade on the city wall. There are still 100 demon exterminating crossbows of the 3rd grade and 500 demon exterminating crossbows of the 2nd grade in the warehouse. There are 20,000 spirit stones of the middle grade, which is enough. In addition, there are 50 spirit stones of the upper grade. Once a Jindan stage cultivator takes action, they can also open the 4th grade defender formation. It won't be a problem to hold on for 4 to 6 hours. Wang Daoyuan nodded. Shanbei may take action. You order all the cultivators to be vigilant. Once someone comes to attack, send me a message. The Jade Spring Peak will only need 3 hours to come to support. Now Shun Zhaoxing was relieved. What he was most afraid of was being left here as a scapegoat. If the Wang family wasn't afraid of reinforcements, he wouldn't be able to support himself no matter how many resources he had. After Wang Daoyuan gave him a reassuring pill, he returned to the Jade Spring Peak. He sent a message to his 5th granduncle, asking him to transfer all the flying warships to the Jade Spring Peak. Once something happened in the Golden Goose City, they would immediately rush over to support. He also sent a message to Luo Jiuyo, telling them about the long-legged prince trying to rope him in. Since he was going to sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight, he naturally had to let both sides be fully prepared to fight more fiercely. After handing over the matter, Wang Daoyuan returned to the cave at the bottom of the earth fire room. Zhou Wan was still dressed in men's clothes, practicing the divine heaven-burning technique in the earth fire room. Seeing Wang Daoyuan come in, she put away the Baifang's shadow. Wang Daoyuan asked, why are you practicing the divine heaven-burning technique? This thing can't borrow the Scarlet Luan's charm, its power is far inferior to your Scarlet Luan divine fire technique. She stood up and said, isn't it to help you? If there are too many opponents and you can't handle them, won't I have to take action? My natal magic tool and the Scarlet Luan divine fire technique can't be used, otherwise it'll be troublesome if I'm recognized. Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, Hall Master also has times when he's muddle-headed. It's not a big problem to take action openly. I'll pay 5 million spirit stones to ask Blood Shadow to kill one of the long-legged prince's golden core cultivators. Taking action in the Golden Goose City has nothing to do with the Wang family, and Blood Shadow can't find fault with it. Even if they have some doubts, they won't send a few golden core cultivators to look for trouble if they can't get any evidence. Zhou Wan thought for a moment and nodded. This method can work, but there's no need to expose it directly. I'll use black magic robe to hide first, and if there's a chance, I'll sneak attack and kill a golden core cultivator. If there's no chance, I'll use the heaven-burning divine fire technique to help you stall one of them. Unless it's absolutely necessary, I won't use the Zhou family's inheritance. When will the administrator give me the 5 million spirit stones? Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, I'm so poor right now. Can I use myself to pay off the debt? If it's okay, I can pay the deposit right now. It'll also solve the problem of my child's rice bowl. Zhou Wan didn't have any intention of refusing. Wang Daoyuan immediately picked her up and walked towards her boudoir. Half a month later, Zhou Wan's Hall Master command tablet fluctuated. She took the command tablet, examined it and said, a large number of foundation building cultivators have gathered in the 10,000 Rivers Market Square and the 3 River Market Square. The Guiyuan sword sect has already begun to openly gather cultivators. Wang Daoyuan immediately got up and put on his clothes. It seems the war has begun. Are there any movements in the markets under the administrator's office and in the Green Willow province? Zhou Wan replied, there's no movement. It seems the Green Willow province doesn't plan to get involved. You go to the Golden Goose City first and leave the black magic robe to me. I'll go there after I dress up as a man. Wang Daoyuan was just about to tease her when he suddenly received a message from Shun Zhaoxing asking for help. A large number of unidentified cultivators appeared outside the Golden Goose City. He had already activated the defensive formation. Now, there were also a small number of foundation-building cultivators causing trouble in the city, and he was dispatching cultivators to suppress them. Chapter 574. Wang Daoyuan was not in the mood to tease Zhou Wan anymore. Jinyan City has already started, I'll go there now. Zhou Wan said, Guiyuan Sword Sect dares to attack Jinyan City, there must be more than one Jindan stage cultivator. You must be careful, don't fall into their ambush. Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, don't worry, I have a lot of means. 3 Jindan stage cultivators can't stop me. With that, he left Yuchuan Peak and headed northwest. While on the way, he did not stay idle. First, he sent a message to his 5th granduncle, asking him to activate the defensive formation of each market. Then he sent a message to Luo Jiuyo, telling him that the remnants of the Zhao family had started to attack. In front of the Zhao family, the 3 major sects were grasshoppers on the same rope. At this time they should be able to unite. Telling Luo Jiuyo was also telling the 3 major sections. The 3 major sects were prepared. No matter where the main force of the Zhao family attacked from the Wan River, it would be a tough nut to crack. It was really hard to say how many Jindan stage cultivators there were in Jinyan City. It was not suitable for the doppelganger to appear in public. Let him continue to stare at the group of refined corpses. If he really couldn't resist, he would release the red-feathered crow. Although the red-feathered crow's cultivation was lower than his, when he crossed the bloodline heavenly tribulation, his bloodline was purified and his natal true fire became extremely strong. His fighting strength was not necessarily worse than his. Now that he exposed the red-feathered crow, there was an explanation. For example, the red-feathered crow that he subdued during his travels in the Tianzhan mountain range must have lived for thousands of years to cultivate to the 4th level low-grade. Unless Wang Daoyuan himself admitted that he got the red-feathered crow from the 100 Spirits Immortals cave. Otherwise no one could find evidence. Of course it was best not to expose it. Don't be afraid of thieves stealing, but be afraid of thieves thinking about it. When he reached a place 1,000 miles east of Jinyan City, Wang Daoyuan no longer rode the cloud in a high-profile manner, but found a place to hide. Then he released the soul-chasing bees to investigate the situation near Jinyan City. Wang Daoyuan didn't dare to rashly approach the Zhao family because of their abnormal behavior. Their main target should be the Underworld Sect's Mountain Gate. The best way to attack the Underworld Sect's Mountain Gate was to scatter the cultivators, sneak into the vicinity of the Underworld Sect's Mountain Gate, and then find an opportunity to launch a sneak attack. However, not only did they not do so, they even came to recruit him in advance. This was a leak of information which was extremely disadvantageous for a sneak attack. Moreover, it was meaningless for them to attack the Golden Goose City. Taking down the Golden Goose City would not cause any loss to the 3 major sections. Instead, he would waste precious time and lose the surprise of his sneak attack. There was definitely something fishy going on. There were no benefits, but they still chose to do this. It was very likely that they had other plans. In Golden Goose City, the only ones worthy of their plot were himself and the practitioners of the administrator's mansion. With this speculation, Wang Daoyuan did not dare to act rashly. It was better to release the soul-chasing bees to scout the enemy. The king of the soul-chasing bees was already a 3rd-rank middle-grade spirit insect, but ordinary soul-chasing bees still couldn't break through the 3rd rank, and they also had a grade differentiation. Most of the soul-chasing bees stayed at the 2nd-rank middle grade, and only about 200 soul-chasing bees grew to the 2nd-rank superior grade. The total number of ordinary soul-chasing bees had exceeded 20,000. Although the spiritual plants in the space of the spiritual pearl did not increase much, the concentration of spiritual chi was much higher. After the soul-chasing bees reached the 2nd rank, they could not eat anything and only rely on spiritual chi to maintain their lives, but their cultivation speed was extremely slow. The 2nd-rank middle-grade soul-chasing bees could fly at a speed of more than 4,000 miles per hour, which was faster than ordinary Zifu realm cultivators. The soul-chasing bees' talent was extreme speed, which could increase their flying speed to more than 6,000 miles per hour in a short period of time. Almost no Zifu realm cultivators could surpass this speed. In actual combat, their combat power was not too strong. The second-rank middle-grade soul-chasing bees were not as good as a first-level foundation establishment cultivator. However, the strength of the spirit insects was never in a one-on-one fight, but in a group fight. Wang Daoyuan had more than 20,000 second-rank middle-grade soul-chasing bees. Even if 50 soul-chasing bees were exchanged for one foundation establishment cultivator, it was still enough to exchange for more than 400 foundation establishment cultivators. Moreover, the bees were not randomly attacking. Wang Daoyuan could control the bees through the king. Although he could not control them in real time, he could still grasp their general movements. The third-rank middle-grade soul-chasing bees' divine sense was not weak, but it could not command more than 20,000 soul-chasing bees at the same time. The 200 or so Stage 2 high-grade soul-chasing bees would be of use. Let them each lead 100 Stage 2 mid-grade soul-chasing bees. The Wasp King only needed to command 200 Stage 2 high-grade soul-chasing bees. Wang Daoyuan wanted to compete with them in patience, and let the soul-chasing bees slaughter the foundation establishment cultivators wantonly. It took more than 100 years to cultivate a late-stage foundation establishment cultivator, but Wang Daoyuan's soul-chasing bees only needed a few days to cultivate. If he continued to waste time, let's see who would be distressed. He also sent a message to Zhou Luan, asking her to secretly search for the Zhao family's Jindan stage cultivators. After that, he sent a message to his fifth granduncle, asking him not to rush to send out the flying warship. In the Golden Goose City, Shen Zhaoxing was guarding the core of the formation and did not dare to show his head, for fear of being decapitated by the enemy who sneaked into the city. Half of the foundation establishment cultivators in the city were on the city wall to defend against the enemy, and the other half were cleaning up the troublesome cultivators in the city. As a fortress, the Golden Goose City had two sets of defensive formations. One was a third-rank defensive formation connected to the spiritual vein, and the other was a fourth-rank low-grade formation activated by high-grade spirit stones. There were also a large number of second-rank and third-rank demon-destroying crossbows on the city wall. If a Qi refinement cultivator were to attack such a fortress, they would only be sending themselves to their deaths. Above the Golden Goose City, there were more than 100 foundation establishment cultivators making tentative attacks. Their intention was not to break through the Golden Goose City, but to use the Golden Goose City to attract the cultivators of the administrator's mansion. These people flew in the air on their swords, and it was difficult for the second-rank superior-grade demon-destroying crossbows of the Golden Goose City to attack them. The third-rank demon-destroying crossbows were too few and could not be used easily. They did not suffer any substantial threat, and they were still talking and laughing when attacking the formation. More than 20,000 soul-chasing bees were divided into more than 200 teams, scattered, and soon arrived near the Golden Goose City. The soul-chasing bees' flying movement was not big, and these enemies were attacking the formation, so the movement was not small. The soul-chasing bees flew 200 to 300 feet east of the Golden Goose City, and this group of foundation establishment cultivators found the clue. This distance was nothing for the soul-chasing bees, and they used their innate spells one after another, and in the blink of an eye, they arrived in front of the foundation establishment cultivators. More than a dozen foundation establishment cultivators who were closer did not have time to react and were directly killed. The cultivators who were a little farther away quickly used spells or talismans to protect themselves. However, there were still 30 to 40 foundation establishment cultivators who were injured, either lightly or seriously. As soon as the two sides met, nearly half of these foundation establishment cultivators were killed or injured. Only 100 soul-chasing bees died, compared to the total number of more than 20,000, this loss was negligible. This group of cultivators was not mentally prepared at all and was attacked. Facing the soul-chasing bees that filled the sky, they did not dare to fight again and quickly fled to the north on their swords. Unfortunately, their speed could not be compared with the soul-chasing bees at all. Wang Daoyuan ordered these soul-chasing bees to chase and kill. In order to reduce the losses of the swarm, he ordered 20 teams of soul-chasing bees to besiege a cultivator. In this way, the cultivators who were not attacked were focused on escaping. Those cultivators who were attacked had to deal with more than 2,000 soul-chasing bees by themselves. At the back of the cultivator team was an old 9th-level foundation establishment cultivator. In the previous attack, he was bitten by 5 or 6 soul-chasing bees. The soul-chasing bees' venom was not strong and could not directly poison him to death, but it made his whole body numb and his spiritual power unable to circulate smoothly. After being poisoned, it was impossible to rely on his spiritual power to defend himself, so he stuck 3 second-rank high-grade golden armor talismans on his body. His spiritual power could not circulate smoothly, and his speed was less than 2,000 miles in 2 hours, which was incomparable to the soul-chasing bees. Soon more than 2,000 soul-chasing bees surrounded him. The 3 layers of golden armor did not even last for a breath of time, and after a scream, the old cultivator fell to the ground. This kind of situation continued to play out. The uninjured cultivators could still delay for a few breaths by dodging, but the injured cultivators were almost instantly killed. If this continued, in less than half a cup of tea's time, this group of people would all be taken down. Chapter 575. After 100 breaths of time, all the injured Foundation establishment cultivators were killed by the soul-chasing bees. The uninjured cultivators tried their best to fly on their swords. Their speed was slightly faster, so only a few died. Wang Daoyuan intended to kill all the Foundation establishment cultivators, but things did not go as he wished. 2 third-rank low-grade flying warships rushed out of the forest on both sides of the Guiyan Valley. The offensive magic weapons on the flying warships immediately launched attacks on the soul-chasing bees. After a few breaths of time, the soul-chasing bees lost more than 1,000. Wang Daoyuan ordered the swarm to withdraw to the Golden Goose City through the Wasp King. The flying warships had defensive magic weapons. The soul-chasing bees' single attack power was too weak to break through the defense. Even if it was a group of third-rank low-grade soul-chasing bees, it was difficult to deal with a flying warship of the same rank. What's more, Wang Daoyuan's soul-chasing bees were only second-rank high-grade middle-grade. The third-rank low-grade flying warship's speed was not as fast as the soul-chasing bees' normal speed. If the soul-chasing bees wanted to escape, they could not catch up. The swarm of bees came near the Golden Goose City, and soon the flying warships followed. As soon as they approached the Golden Goose City, the third-rank demon extermination crossbows on the city wall were immediately launched. The 2 flying warships became the target of 20 crossbow arrows. The crossbow arrows used by the demon extermination crossbows were third-rank low-grade magic weapons, which were 10 feet long. After being hit by this crossbow arrow, the early-stage Zifu realm cultivator would be seriously injured if not killed. The flying warship's defense was relatively strong, but they did not dare to take the crossbow arrows head-on. Under the control of the cultivators on the ship, they avoided the crossbow arrows. After all, the flying warships were more than 10 feet long, and were not flexible enough to completely avoid the crossbow arrows. A few crossbow arrows hit the warships, and the defensive formation light shield on the warships flickered. The flying warships immediately retreated to the north, retreating out of the attack range of the third-rank demon extermination crossbows. In this confrontation, the long-legged prince's subordinates lost more than 60 Foundation establishment cultivators, and Wang Daoyuan lost more than 1,000 second-rank middle-grade soul-chasing bees. In general, Wang Daoyuan gained a little advantage. The long-legged prince's subordinates did not retreat or attack. They just stayed more than 20 miles north of the Golden Goose City. Wang Daoyuan also knew what they meant. They were waiting for the spiritual power of the Golden Goose City's rank 4 defensive formation to be exhausted. Then, the Jindan stage cultivators would attack the Golden Goose City and lure him into action. If he didn't care, his subordinates in the city wouldn't be able to survive. If he abandoned his subordinates, his prestige would be gone. Shen Zhaoxing had 50 high-grade spirit stones in his possession, which was enough to sustain a Tier 4 defensive array formation for 4 to 6 hours. Less than 2 hours had passed since the formation was activated. The upper-grade spirit stones were probably enough to last for 4 hours, so Wang Daoyuan was not afraid of wasting time with them. He was also waiting for Zhou Luan to find the hiding place of the Zhao clan's golden core cultivator. An hour later he received a message from Zhou Luan. She had found the hiding place of the Zhao family's golden core cultivator. Wang Daoyuan also sent a message to her, asking her to come over. After a while, Zhou Luan came to his hiding place. Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, "Thank you for your hard work, Hall Master. How is the investigation going?" Zhou Luan said with a proud look, "When this Hall Master makes a move, naturally it will be successful. There are 3 Jindan stage cultivators lying in ambush near the Golden Goose City. One is 300 miles east of the Golden Goose City, one is 200 miles west, and the other is more than 100 miles northeast of the Golden Goose City. Among the 3 Jindan stage cultivators, 2 are water attribute cultivators and 1 is fire attribute cultivator. The water attribute cultivators of the Zhao clan all have the Gui Water Divine Thunder, which is not easy to deal with. However, the Zhao clan does not have a powerful fire attribute inheritance, so the fighting strength of this fire attribute cultivator should not be too strong. Moreover, the spiritual power fluctuations of this fire attribute cultivator are weaker than the other two. You have the Suzaku fan, which can restrain fire attribute cultivators. We can first kill this fire attribute Jindan stage cultivator. After that, the two of us can fight against two late Jindan stage cultivators. Even if we are not their opponents, it is not a problem for us to retreat. Wang Daoyuan shook his head and said, "You'd better not expose yourself so easily. Give me the black magic robe and I will sneak attack the fire attribute cultivator." Zhou was a little worried. "Can you do it alone?" Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, "Don't you know whether I can do it or not?" Zhou spat. "You are going to fight the enemy before the battle, yet you are still so frivolous. I will use a secret concealment technique and follow behind you. If you fail, then I will make a move." After saying that, she took off the black magic robe and gave it to Wang Daoyuan. Wang Daoyuan put on the black magic robe and went west. The fire attribute cultivator was hiding 300 miles east of the Golden Goose City, which was more than 700 miles west of Wang Daoyuan. Wang Daoyuan used the divine walking technique and went west. After half a cup of tea's time, Wang Daoyuan came to the hiding place of the fire attribute cultivator. Zhou had already told him the specific location, so he found the fire attribute cultivator without much effort. This person was hiding in the hollow of a withered tree, trying to hide his aura. Moreover, his concealment methods were rather brilliant. Only when Wang rode was only a dozen or so miles away from him did he discover his tracks. Wang Daoyuan was wearing the black magic robe and using a very clever concealment technique. This concealment technique was called the Devil Concealment Art, which was an inheritance of the soul-devouring demon lineage. It could not only avoid the detection of spiritual sense, but also be invisible to the naked eye. Wang Daoyuan improved it and made it suitable for human cultivators to cultivate. Now this concealment technique was not perfect. Without the black magic robe, it could not hide from Jindan stage cultivators. Soon Wang Daoyuan came to 5 miles east of the fire attribute cultivator and did not dare to get closer. After all, the target was a member of the Zhao family, and their inheritance was also very clever. Who knew if he had any spells that could see through the devil concealment art? 4 Jindan stage cultivators, this distance was not much different from face to face, so there was no need to take the risk to get closer. Wang Daoyuan merged the 5 natal magic artifacts in his Dantian into the 5 elements devil suppression seal. Then he activated the seal with all his strength and smashed it towards the fire attribute cultivator. As soon as the 5 elements devil suppression seal left his body, it emitted intense spiritual power fluctuations. No matter how slow the fire attribute cultivator was, he could still sense it. He no longer hid and immediately jumped out of the hollow of the withered tree. This person was wearing a fiery red robe and looked young. He should not be a veteran Jindan from 500 years ago. He wanted to use an escape technique to escape, but the 5 elements devil suppression seal was not to be trifled with. Although it was not very fast, it had a suppressive force that could suppress the target's escape technique. The red-robed cultivator had no choice but to summon his natal magic artifact to withstand the attack. His natal magic artifact was a fiery red sword with a flaming flood dragon on it. A purple light flickered between his brows and a dragon roar could be heard. Wang Daoyuan also used his purple mansion resonance secret technique, and a purple light flickered between his brows. Who could compete with him in terms of purple mansion resonance? The 5 elements divine beast phenomenon was rare in the world to begin with, and Wang Daoyuan had even used a secret technique to strengthen it for a few years. The seal and the fiery red sword clashed, and there was an intense fire attribute spiritual power fluctuation on the sword. The flood dragon on the sword seemed to have come alive, emitting an intense dragon aura. The 5 elements divine beast charm was released from the 5 elements devil suppression seal, and the fiery red sword's aura disappeared immediately. The red-robed cultivator was ambushed and could not unleash his full strength in a hasty battle. Now that his natal magic artifact was suppressed, his face turned pale and his eyes were filled with fear. The natal magic artifact lasted for more than a breath before the fiery red sword was repelled. The 5 elements devil suppression seal continued smashing towards the red-robed cultivator. He received the slightly damaged sword and injected all his spirit energy into it, using his ultimate move to withstand the attack. The sword burned with raging flames as the red-robed cultivator wielded it with both hands, slashing towards the 5 elements devil suppression seal. With a cracking sound, the fiery red sword broke into 2. The red-robed cultivator suffered a backlash and spat out a mouthful of blood. Thereafter, the fiend suppression seal smashed heavily onto his body. Instantly, a blue light barrier appeared around the red-robed cultivator. The light barrier only lasted for half a breath before shattering, but it also weakened the power of the Fiend Suppression Seal. Eventually, the Fiend Suppression Seal smashed onto his chest, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood before fainting. Wang Daoyuan was overjoyed. Initially, he wanted to kill the red-robed cultivator, but he did not expect to capture him alive. A living person was more valuable than a dead one, and it was easier to bargain with a hostage. Chapter 576. Wang Daoyuan wanted the long-legged prince's cultivators to fight with the three major sections. He did not want to fight with the Zhao family's Jindan cultivators. Given the prince's idiotic character, if he had killed a few gold core cultivators, he might have let go of the three major sects and come after him with all his might. Now that he had a hostage, he could discuss with the other two Jindan cultivators to stop fighting and get some benefits. Of course, the red-robed cultivator who was seriously injured and unconscious had to be dealt with. It was not safe to keep a late-stage Jindan cultivator by his side. Wang Daoyuan took out the meteorite fire-controlling gourd, drew out a strand of red phoenix nirvana fire and injected it into the red-robed cultivator's meridians. When the rootless fire came into contact with the spiritual power in his body, it immediately burned. The red-robed cultivator was still in a coma, but his face was still in pain. Wang Daoyuan did not want to burn him to death, so he immediately suppressed the flame, only consuming the fire attribute's spiritual power and not hurting his body. He was in a coma and could not control his spiritual power, so he had no power to resist. Soon, the spiritual power in his meridians was burned clean. The flame gathered in his dantian, burning away all the spiritual power in his dantian, leaving only a golden core. Now he could not use any spells. Even if he extracted spiritual power from his golden core, it would be burned by the flame in an instant. Wang Daoyuan pressed the 5 elements subduing devil seal on his dantian to prevent him from exploding his golden core. The power of an early-stage Jindan cultivator's golden core explosion was enough to seriously injure him. Not to mention that this red-robed cultivator was at the late-stage Jindan cultivator. If he exploded his golden core at such a close distance, it was very likely to send him away. Although the two of them fought for a short time, the commotion was not small. The other two Zhao family cultivators had already been alarmed. After dozens of breaths, the Jindan cultivators who were lying in ambush in the north of Jinyan City rushed over. This guy did not have a good temper. Before he arrived, the Gui Water Divine Thunder arrived first. A water-blue spiritual chi ball with a diameter of about 3 inches appeared more than 100 miles away in the northwest direction and quickly flew towards Wang Daoyuan. This small spiritual chi ball contained a majestic spiritual power. Who did not know the prestige of the Gui Water Divine Thunder? The Zhao clan relied on the blooming water Divine Thunder to trample the Song and Wei kingdoms on the ground for thousands of years. Wang Daoyuan separated the white tiger blade from the 5 elements devil suppression seal and used the sword shadow divine light technique. 3 sword shadows flew out to meet the blooming water Divine Thunder. The sword shadows and the blooming water Divine Thunder collided more than 50 miles away from Wang Daoyuan. The blooming water Divine Thunder was shattered, and the 3 sword shadows were not spared. The aftermath of the explosion swept out. If there was a Zifu disciple within the area of the shockwaves, that Zifu disciple would probably be dead by now. Wang Daoyuan separated the black tortoise shield from the 5 elemental demon-slaying seal to block the aftermath of the explosion. He wasn't afraid of the aftermath of the explosion, but the hostage couldn't withstand it. Then he replenished the 3 sword shadows that he had lost. The might of this blooming water Divine Thunder was even slightly stronger than the full force attack of his white tiger blade. The blooming water Divine Thunder could be used consecutively, and its casting speed was far superior to ordinary spells. If he continued to use the sword shadow to compete with the 10th water Divine Thunder, Wang Daoyuan really could not take advantage of it. A loud shout rang out, "Wang clan's brat, quickly release Ling Yan." This person was called Ling Yan and should be from the Zhao clan as well. He was of the same generation as the long-legged prince. Wang Daoyuan laughed, "Dao, you better be careful. Zhao Ling Yan is unconscious, and the spiritual energy in his body has been sucked dry by me. He has no power to resist at all. The Zhao clan's blooming water Divine Thunder is extremely powerful, so don't hurt your own clan. Also, I left some tricks in his body. If I die, his golden core will immediately shatter." A cultivator wearing a blue robe appeared 100 miles away and snorted, "Despicable person, what do you want for you to let Ling Yun go?" Wang Daoyuan questioned. "I want to ask you, what do I want for you to not cause trouble for me?" The blue-robed cultivator sneered, "You were disrespectful to His Majesty. His Majesty gave you a chance to redeem yourself, but you didn't cherish it. Instead, you disobeyed His Majesty's orders. We are here to punish the rebels. If you want to live, bring your subordinates and attack the underworld sect. If you make a great contribution, His Majesty is benevolent and might even give you some rewards." This guy's hair and beard were all white, and he looked like he didn't have much time left. However, there was still an arrogant look on his face. He should be an older golden core cultivator who was still immersed in the beautiful dream of the Zhao clan's glory days and didn't know that the world had changed. Wang Daoyuan said in disdain, "I'll kill all 3 of you golden cores and then flatten the Beiyuan sword sect. After that, I'll bring my subordinates to the south and block the 10,000 Rivers Valley. If the reinforcements from Linhai Prefecture can't come, the long-legged prince will be trapped. He thinks that I'm guilty. As long as I can kill him, won't I be innocent? Daoyu, wake up. Times have changed. The Zhao clan has already been gone for 500 years. The blue-robed cultivator's face was filled with anger as he shouted, "Rebel, how dare you say such disrespectful words?" With that, he began to gather the blooming water divine thunder in his hands. Wang Daoyuan's 10 sword shadows were also ready to attack this old guy at any time. Another cultivator flew over from the west and shouted, "Little friend Wang, second brother, please wait." This person was wearing a white robe and his hair and beard were all white. However, he had a long beard and a kind face. He immediately stood in front of the blue-robed cultivator and said, "Second brother, please calm down. Don't hurt Lingyun." Then he said to Wang Daoyuan, "Little friend Wang, in the past, Yuchuan Daoyu and I fought side by side. Even though hundreds of years have passed, there's no need to fight with weapons." Wang Daoyuan sneered, "The Wang clan doesn't owe the Zhao clan anything, but we don't want to be enemies with the Zhao clan either. I don't care about the long-legged prince, but you want to attack the Wang clan. You're the ones looking for trouble. I'm just guarding the territory." The blue-robed cultivator wanted to attack again, but the long-bearded cultivator stopped him and smiled. "Little friend, you've misunderstood. We just want to fight side by side with the Wang clan again and wipe out the rebels. The Wang clan can also restore the glory of Yuchuan Daoyu." Wang Daoyuan said with disdain, "Sorry, the Wang clan is even more glorious now than when our ancestor was alive. Even if the Zhao clan revives the dynasty, the Wang clan won't benefit at all. Instead, the long-legged prince will bear a grudge against us. Who would risk their lives for such a losing deal? Don't look down on the 2 of you. I can call a few helpers over at any time. Killing the 2 of you won't be a problem." The blue-robed cultivator roared, "Arrogant brat. Cut the crap. I've already sent a message to my master, Perfected Lei Yan. He'll be here in a few days." With his half-step Yuanian cultivation, killing 8 or 10 golden core cultivators of the Zhao clan shouldn't be a problem. I wonder how many golden core cultivators the Zhao clan has left. Is it enough for him to stretch his muscles? Hearing the name of Perfected Lei Yan, the blue-robed cultivator calmed down. Perfected Lei Yan was famous for being protective of his disciples. He once had a disciple who died in the southern wasteland. He personally went to the southern wasteland to kill several golden core cultivators. This matter was widely spread in the entire Beiyuan Xiuxian. Naturally, the Zhao clan also heard about it. If they killed his disciple, how many golden core cultivators of the Zhao clan would have to die to appease his anger? The long-bearded cultivator quickly smiled and said, "We've offended you this time. Please forgive us, little friend. I wonder how little friend can let Ling Yan go. Ling Yan's father and your ancestor are friends. Please don't hurt the friendship between the 2 clans." Wang Daoyuan replied, "As long as the Zhao clan doesn't enter my territory, I won't care what you do. If you break into my territory again, don't blame me for not caring about the friendship and killing a few golden core cultivators of the Zhao clan. Also, I've lost more than 1,000 rank 2 mid-grade soul-chasing bees this time. The Golden Geese City's losses aren't small either. Also, this golden core late-stage cultivator can't be redeemed with spirit stones, right?" The blue-robed cultivator took out a storage bag. "I can make the decision on this matter. We'll immediately withdraw from the Wang clan's territory. There are 500 high-grade spirit stones in this storage bag. Consider it our compensation. There's also a map inside. It records a fewer veins within the Sky Beheading Mountain range. I know a little about the Wang clan's situation. What they lack the most is refining materials. To the Wang clan, this or vein map is more important than anything else. What do you think, little friend?" Chapter 577. 500 superior-grade spirit stones were equivalent to 5 million low-grade spirit stones. For an average person to nurture more than 1,000 second-rank medium-grade soul-chasing bees, the honey consumed would be worth at least 2 to 3 million spirit stones. If the time cost to nurture the queen bee was considered, 5 million was more than enough. But to Wang Daoyuan this loss was nothing. The queen bee could lay thousands of eggs a day. The queen bee was already third-rank medium-grade, and the newly hatched bees had the strength of second-rank low-grade. As long as they ate honey for more than half a year, the hatchlings would only need more than a year to mature, and their cultivation would also reach second-rank medium-grade. With the time acceleration of more than 40 times in the space of the spiritual pearl, it would only take a few days to nurture a batch. It could be said that Wang Daoyuan only paid some honey for these 1,000 over soul-chasing bees. In exchange for 5 million spirit stones, it was naturally a profit. This mineral vein map made Wang Daoyuan feel very uncomfortable. Except it was a pity that he didn't get a precious spiritual item. It wasn't easy to kidnap someone, and he even kidnapped a late-stage golden core. It was a loss for him not to get anything good. If he didn't accept it, the family especially needed mineral veins. Wang Daoyuan wanted to extort more, but he was afraid of angering the blue-robed cultivator. At that time he would have to expose Zhou Wan's identity, and there would be a lot of trouble in the future. After weighing the pros and cons, he decided to accept it. It was better to stop after taking a little advantage. People who were too greedy didn't live long. The long-bearded cultivator was right. The Wang family's biggest weakness was that their foundation was too thin and they didn't have high-grade refining materials. With this mineral vein map, they only needed to spend a few years to develop the mineral vein to completely make up for this weakness. After thinking for a while, Wang Daoyuan nodded. Let's do as Daoyu said. With that, he released more than a dozen second-rank medium-grade soul-chasing bees. These soul-chasing bees flew over and carried the storage bag back. Wang Daoyuan didn't open the storage bag. Instead, he used his divine sense to penetrate the storage bag and check the things inside. There were indeed 500 high-grade spirit stones and a map inside. He took a quick look at the contents of the map. Based on his understanding of the outer regions of the heavenly/mountain range, he could confirm that this map was reliable. There were no tricks left on the storage bag. Wang Daoyuan hung the storage pouch on his waist and nodded. There's no problem with the map. I smashed Zhao Lingyan and Daoyu with the 5 elements devil suppression seal. His internal organs were injured and his natal dermic artifact was broken, but there was no permanent damage. As he finished speaking, he took out the meteor fire warding gourd and extracted the scarlet Luan nirvana flame from Zhao Lingyan's body. Then he soared into the air and flew eastward for more than 50 miles. Only when he arrived at a small mountain did he retrieve the 5 elements devil suppression seal. The blue-robed cultivator flew over hurriedly to check on Zhao Lingyan's injuries while the long-bearded cultivator guarded against Wang Daoyuan from the side. After checking, the blue-robed cultivator said, "Brat Wang, you're really ruthless. Lingyan's organs are all injured. If you don't treat your injuries in time, I'm afraid you won't be able to keep your life." Then he quickly took out a pill bottle and poured out a few pills for Zhao Lingyan to consume. Wang Daoyuan snorted coldly and replied, "You came to my territory to ambush me and you're complaining that I'm ruthless. Since we've already talked and Zhao Lingyan's foundation is not injured, you should immediately leave my territory. If you two want to spar with me, I have no objections. I can extract your soul and refine it after killing you, and peek into the mystery of the Gui water divine lightning." The blue-robed cultivator still wanted to attack, but the long-bearded cultivator immediately stopped him and cupped his hands. "Little friend, you must be joking. We'll leave now." Wang Daoyuan also let out a sigh of relief. He was not afraid of these two people, but he was afraid of forming a deadly feud with the Zhao clan. Although these 3 people were the long-legged prince's people, the 9th prince was also surnamed Zhao. Would the 9th prince be happy if he killed the Zhao clan's golden core cultivator? If he cooperated with the 9th prince in the future, he would have to consider whether or not he would settle accounts with him. The long-bearded cultivator used a jade talisman to send a message, and the cultivators around the Gold Goose City evacuated. The 2 people also took the seriously injured and unconscious Zhao Lingyan and headed north. After flying hundreds of miles, the blue-robed cultivator asked, "Old Nine, what do you mean? You didn't cooperate with me to take down the Wang brat and give him the spirit stones and the mine map. Even if you're afraid of Lei Yanjinren and can't kill him, you can still force him to submit." The long-bearded cultivator helplessly replied, "We've investigated him a lot. How many methods does he have, can you say clearly? Ling Yan's strength is not weak, but he was taken down in a very short time. Wang Daoyuan's body is not injured at all, even his magic tools are intact. Moreover, the three of us used a concealment secret technique. He can accurately find Ling Yan's position in a short time. This is not something an ordinary person can do. You exchanged a move with him. What do you think of his strength? Are you sure you can win? The blue-robed cultivator thought for a moment and somewhat dejectedly replied, his attack speed is very fast, and the sword technique he used has the flavor of the shadow sword technique. In an instant he summoned 10 sword shadows, and only used 3 to cancel out my Gui Water Divine Thunder. Afterwards he quickly recovered the sword shadows. If we continue to waste time, I also don't have the confidence to take him down. The long-bearded cultivator persuaded. His life source magic tool is the 5 elements Devil Suppression Seal, formed by 5 magic tools. Only using the White Tiger Blade, you don't have the confidence to take him down. If all 5 magic tools are used, we may not be his match in a one-on-one fight. Even defeating him would be difficult, let alone capturing him alive. Attacking without knowing the opponent's details is gambling with our lives. Destroy the 3 great sects, recover the state of Zhao, and at that time, it won't be too late to settle accounts. There is no need to fight for a short time. The blue-robed cultivator was still somewhat indignant, but didn't say anything. After the 3 left, Wang Daoyuan landed on a small mountain. He took off the black magic robe and handed it forward. This time it was scary but not dangerous. Thanks to Hall Master Darren's investigation of the enemy. Zhou Wan appeared, took the black magic robe and put it on. She said proudly, back then when I was at the Blood Shadow headquarters, investigating the enemy was a basic skill. I didn't expect you to be so good at deceiving people. You so easily swindled 5 million spirit stones and a mind map. Your strength is not much stronger than that blue-robed cultivator, but you can suppress both of them. Wang Daoyuan said with a smile, needless to say, if I didn't have some ability, how could I deceive Hall Master Darren? Zhou Wan asked, it seems that you have done a lot of this. Which female cultivators did you deceive without me knowing? Wang Daoyuan was somewhat helpless. You can suspect that I'm a womanizer for everything. When I talk to female cultivators you can know the content. How can I have the courage to deceive female cultivators? I still have to go to Jinyan City to deal with the aftermath. Do you want to go with me? Zhou Wan said, of course. If I'm not there, won't I give you a chance to flirt? Wang Daoyuan rode on the auspicious cloud, and Zhou Wan also walked on it. The two of them went to Jinyan City. Wang Daoyuan inquired about the casualties in Jinyan City, gave some compensation to the families of the dead and injured cultivators, and left some high-grade spirit stones for Shen Zhaoxing. Then he returned to Yuchuan Peak with Zhou Wan. Back in the underground cave, he sat down on the stone table in the front yard and took out the mind map. This map was about 10 feet square and was made of animal skin. The information on it was not inscribed with divine sense, but directly drawn on the animal skin paper. It had to be said that the Zhao clan's foundation was deep enough. Anything they took out would be of great use to a small force like the Wang clan. The scope of this map was not small. The northernmost was 10,000 miles north of Huiyin Mountain, and the southernmost was the Wanchuan River. There were a total of more than 20 veins recorded on the map, all of which were 3rd and 4th rank veins, and the scale was not small. The smallest vein was more than 200 miles long. If one of these was casually developed, the benefits would be immeasurable. The closest vein to the clan's territory was less than 300 miles south of Golden Tiger Mountain and Fallen Dragon Ridge. This was a 3rd-rank high-grade silver light mysterious iron vein. The whole vein was more than 400 miles long, running from north to south. It was not impossible to dig out 4th-rank low-grade silver light mysterious iron ore from this vein. Chapter 578. Silver light meteoric iron was a non-elemental metal and was very suitable for refining flying warships. Previously, when Wang Daoyuan improved his refining skills, he refined an upper-grade Tier 3 flying warship, and the core component was made of silver light meteoric iron. With silver light meteoric iron, the clan would have enough refining materials, and they would not need to ask others to refine flying warships. The location of this vein was not bad, and it was not far from Fallen Dragon Ridge's Golden Tiger Mountain. After the ore was mined, it could be transported to Golden Tiger Mountain and transported out through Fallen Dragon Ridge's transportation channel. There was no need to open another transportation channel, which saved a lot of costs. Moreover, this place was more than 3,000 kilometers away from the Sky/Mountain Range's main vein, and there were very few Tier 3 demon beasts, so there was no problem in terms of safety. The only problem was the defense of this place. There was a branch spirit vein of Fallen Dragon Ridge near this vein. This branch spirit vein was only upper grade tier 1 and could not be used to set up tier 2 formations. If the spirit vein's grade was low, they could only use formation discs to set up formations and consume spirit stones to maintain the formations. This way the cost was too high. Moreover, formation discs were not as reliable as permanent formation eyes. When faced with a strong attack, the formation discs would easily collapse. The clan would have to deploy more cultivators to guard this vein. Zhou Luan sat on a stone bench beside him, crossing her legs and eating a golden thread jade peach. Seeing his regretful expression, she asked, "Do you have to look so sad when looking at a map of an vein?" She stood up and walked to Wang Daoyuan's side, looking at the map carefully. "This silver light meteoric iron is really unbearable. It's in such a good location, but it's not easy to defend. Didn't you get 5 elements spiritual master's inheritance? His method of guiding spirit veins is top-notch. You can just guide spirit veins from other places and raise the grade of the spirit vein." Wang Daoyuan was stunned and asked, "How do you know I have 5 elements spiritual master's inheritance?" Zhou Luan stuffed the peach in her hand into Wang Daoyuan's mouth and said with a smile, "The flame you used to open this cave abode was the dust-returning flame, right? Earth attribute spirit fire is not common, and the dust-returning flame can corrode everything. Unless it's the first time such a treasure appears, it can't hide from Blood Shadow's intelligence system. I checked the old files from tens of thousands of years ago and learned about the 5-element spiritual master. The previous owner of the dust-returning flame was the 5-element spiritual master. Since he had obtained the spiritual fire, how could he not have obtained the legacy of array formations? Alright, have you found the elemental mystery realm?" In his later years he wanted to establish his own sect. There was a rumor that he would set his mountain gate in the 5 elements mystery realm. After that there was no more news. But don't worry, this file is stored in Qingli City. The branch would not report to the headquarters if there was no definite information. The files in Qingli City Square have also been destroyed by me. Right now, other than the two of us, no one else knows about the dust-returning flame. Wang Daoyuan took a bite of the golden silk jade peach and sucked in a breath of cold air. "Fortunately, I made the first move and deceived you. Otherwise, it would be too dangerous for you to know so many of my secrets. I've also found the elemental mystery realm. I obtained the inheritance there. However, your idea can indeed be implemented. There was a stage 2 spirit vein in the vicinity of the vein. He could use the spirit guiding array to draw it over. It's just that the spirit guiding array needs to forcefully change the direction of the spirit vein. The difficulty of setting it up is quite high, and it also takes a lot of time. Right now, the demonic beasts in the sky/mountain range are very active. Let's talk about it after things have calmed down." Zhou Luan asked with a smile, "I've solved a problem for the clan. Is there any reward?" Upon hearing the reward, Wang Daoyuan wrapped his arms around Zhou Luan's waist, wanting to pull her into his embrace. "Whatever reward you want is fine." Zhou Luan slapped his hand. "Stop thinking crookedly. I want the honey. You've raised so many soul-chasing bees. There should be a lot of honey, right? You actually dared to hide such a good thing from me? Are you planning to give it to some vixen?" Wang Daoyuan was forced to hand over more than 50 kilograms of honey. Only then was Zhou Luan satisfied. At this time, Wanchuan City Square and Three River City Square were attacked by unknown cultivators. Many of the important industries of the 3 major sects were damaged to varying degrees. However, the 3 major sects were already prepared. The cultivators all withdrew from places that were not easy to defend. More people were sent to places that were easy to defend. The long-legged prince's attack caused a lot of noise and took down a lot of industries. However, the casualties of the 3 major sects were minimal. At present, only Zifu Realm and Foundation Establishment cultivators were attacking the industries. The Jindan cultivators did not make a move. It was estimated that they were besieging the important industries, luring the cultivators of the 3 major sects to rescue them, and then eating the reinforcements. At the same time, the news that he faced 3 late-stage Jindan cultivators of the Zhao clan at the same time in Jinyan City, seriously injuring one and scaring off the other 2 spread. Moreover, the industries of Yannan County were not attacked. In troubled times, peaceful places were the most attractive. The loose cultivators of Heian County flocked to Yannan County. At Qingli City Square, the number of loose cultivators who requested to join the administrator's mansion increased sharply. Most of these loose cultivators were unreliable. They joined the administrator's mansion only to take refuge temporarily. Once the war was over, they would still have to leave. Such people naturally could not be accepted casually. Of course, it was also inappropriate to not accept any of them. Wang Daoyuan asked his fifth granduncle to arrange for a few loose cultivators who were proficient in elixir, weapons, and talisman arrays to calm the loose cultivators. He also released the soul-chasing bees to patrol the entire Yan'an County. If they encountered any loose cultivators who caused trouble, they would be killed directly. Zhou Wan's intelligence system was not idle either. There were many loose cultivators who poured into Yan'an County. Maybe some of them were the long-legged prince's subordinates. The group of people who attacked Jinyan City before, after retreating to Shanbei, pretended to be dead in the Beiyuan sword sect and did not take any action. Whether it was the hinterland of Zhao Country or Wuqing Pass, there was no war between Jindan cultivators. Both sides had not yet reached the decisive battle. Wang Daoyuan was also happy to be idle, doing some things that interested him in the underground cave. After half a month he received a message from Shanbei. The messenger surprised him. It was Lord Roaring Tooth of the bloodthirsty Ash Wolf Pack. The content of the message was to ask him to go to the hill where they had a meeting last time and help save Daoyu. After the matter was done, he would be greatly rewarded. Wang Daoyuan was a little suspicious, so he let his doppelganger Devouring Soul go to check it out. When he found that there was no ambush there, he felt relieved. Just as he was about to leave, Zhou Wan asked, "Where are we going this time?" Wang Daoyuan naturally told her the truth. Zhou Wan immediately misunderstood. "That place is not far from the Dark Fox tribe. Are you going to meet that fox spirit, Ming Xian?" "No, I want to go with you. If those demons want to deal with you, I'll be able to help." "If you want to go, then go. With black magic robe, those demons won't find you. It's just that the demons have sharp noses. Don't get too close." Zhou Wan naturally agreed. Then the two of them hid their figures and left Yuchuan Peak. Wang Daoyuan came to the agreed place. Zhou Wan was hiding more than 100 miles to the south. There were two young men halfway up the hill where the meeting took place last time. One of them was Roaring Tooth King. The other one had a sturdy figure and was a size bigger than Roaring Tooth King. There were silver streaks on his dark hair and skin. His cultivation was at the 4th stage, but his aura was a little unstable. He looked like he was seriously injured. Wang Daoyuan was not unfamiliar with this appearance. Back then, when he participated in the duel between the two sects during the Foundation establishment stage, the half-demon black flame of the Savage Sun Palace looked like this. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "This Daoyu seems to be a black flame tiger?" Roaring Tooth King continued, "Daoyu is right. This is Yin Hui of the Black Flame Tiger clan Daoyu." Wang Daoyuan asked, "I wonder what injuries Daoyu suffered?" Yin Hui said in a deep voice, "I was slightly injured when I fought against the 4th stage refined corpse at the Ghost Cave. My Black Flame Tiger clan is good at controlling fire. Flames have a certain restraining effect on corpse chi, death chi and other things. I didn't think much of it, but my injuries are getting worse and worse." Roaring Tooth King said that Daoyu has the life spirit fire that can dissolve corpse chi and death chi. I wanted to ask Daoyu for help. Chapter 579. Wang Daoyuan came to a realization. This was the flaming black tiger that had severely injured the high-grade 3 refined corpse in the Ghost Cave. This guy didn't seem to have a good temper. He definitely wasn't convinced that he suffered a loss at the refined corpse. After treating his injuries, he would definitely go find trouble with the refined corpse again. This was an ally to deal with the refined corpse. With him restraining the refined corpse, the sky/mountain range would be safer. Wang Daoyuan agreed. Refined corpse is the common enemy of humans, demons and half-demons. Since Yen Hui Daoyu has fought a refined corpse, then we are brothers who fight side by side. Since my brother is injured, I naturally won't stand by and watch. Hearing this, Yen Hui smiled. Brother Wang is indeed straightforward. If you need any help in the future, just ask. Wang Daoyuan smiled. Brother Yen Hui, let me see your wounds. The rank 4 middle refined corpse I saw last time, its corpse chi and death chi are nothing special. It's easy to deal with. With Brother Yen Hui's ability to control fire, it's not impossible. His ability to climb up the ladder was not bad. With just a few words he became brothers with Yen Hui. Yen Hui flung off the robe on his body, revealing a body full of muscles. There were many claw marks on his arms and back. These claw marks were not like the wounds of Blood Fang King and the others. Those wounds were black, but these wounds were yellow. Looking at the color and the aura they emitted, it was a bit like the yellow spring water. Could it be that these refined corpses had soaked in the yellow spring water? If the claw marks had the yellow spring water, then these refined corpses had been nourished in the yellow spring for a long time. Thinking of this, Wang Daoyuan's scalp went numb. When he first entered the Yellow Spring secret realm, He stayed beside the yellow spring for a while and even used what attribute spirit energy to test the spring water. There were rank 4 upper refined corpses under the spring water. Just thinking about it made his hair stand on end. Yan Hui saw that his expression was not good and asked, "Brother Wang, if you have something to say, just say it. I can handle it. Even if I can't keep my life, it doesn't matter." Wang Daoyuan smiled. "Brother misunderstood, this injury is not that serious. It's just that the poison in the wound is a bit strange. I'll try to see if the life spirit fire can resolve it." With these words, a wisp of the spirit flame of life appeared on the tip of his right index finger. After that, he directed the spiritual fire to a scar on Yan Hui's right arm. As soon as the life spirit fire touched the wound, a sizzling sound of corrosion could be heard. After a few breaths, the wound turned from yellow to black. There was no corpse chi or death chi in this blackness. It was just purine chi. Wang Daoyuan heaved a sigh of relief. It can be cured. The poison in the wound is a mixture of yin qi and death qi. Ordinary methods could not separate the two, nor could they remove the poison. The life spirit fire can dissolve the death qi in it, and the remaining yin qi is relatively pure. It won't be a problem even if you don't care about it. Your physical body will consume the yin qi on its own. Yan Hui's face lit up. Although he wasn't afraid of death, who would want to die if they could live? After confirming that it was effective, Wang Daoyuan immediately released a large amount of life spirit fire, enveloping Yan Hui's entire body. Yan Hui's entire body emitted a sizzling sound of corrosion, and his face revealed a pained expression. A quarter of an hour later, all the wounds on his body had turned black. Yan Hui heaved a sigh of relief. Brother Wang's life spirit fire is indeed powerful. My wounds don't feel uncomfortable anymore. I'll go to the ghost cave now and find that refined corpse to settle the score. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly dissuaded him. Brother Yan Hui, don't be anxious. You've been injured for a while and the damage to your physical body is quite serious. I heard that the yin qi in the ghost cave is extremely dense, and the refined corpse's strength greatly increases. Moreover, there are many refined corpses. You're not a match for a group of refined corpses. It's better to find a few more Daoyu and wait for the refined corpses to come out before making a move. Roaring Tooth King also advised. Only then did Yan Hui agree to go back to recuperate and find a few rank 4 demons to go with him. Yan Hui also asked, if the refined corpses come out of the cave, I wonder if Brother Wang can come and help? Wang Daoyuan had the intention of letting the refined corpses consume the strength of the demon race. However, this group of refined corpses staying in the ghost cave made him feel as if a fishbone was stuck in his throat. Whenever they caused trouble there, demon beasts would run to the south of the mountain, causing the Wang family to be unable to develop Fallen Dragon Ridge. The Silverlight Mystic Iron Mine also had to be shelved. It was better to get rid of the refined corpses in the ghost cave and then destroy the Yin vein so as to prevent them from disgusting people there. He nodded and said, the refined corpses are our common enemy. Naturally, I'm willing to help. However, I'm just a human golden core cultivator. If I rashly enter the sky beheading mountain range, I'm afraid I'll be attacked by Daoyu of the demon race. Yan Hui patted his chest and guaranteed, Brother Wang, don't worry. With me around, no demon race will dare to say anything. You've helped the demon race greatly. In the future, there's no harm in entering and leaving the sky beheading mountain range as you wish. Before Yan Hui finished speaking, he felt a bone-piercing pain. The wounds on his body showed signs of turning yellow again, and yellow water droplets seeped out. As soon as these water droplets came out, they began to corrode the skin near the wounds. Wang Daoyuan was not unfamiliar with these water droplets. They were exactly the same as the water of the yellow springs. Yan Hui, a man with unyielding bones, was also in so much pain that his muscles twitched. He asked, Brother Wang, what's going on with my injuries? Wang Daoyuan pondered for a moment before saying, the water flowing out of your wounds is the water of the yellow springs. Legend has it that the water from the underworld can corrode all living things. This refined corpse's background is not small. It can actually control the water of the yellow springs. All the wounds are flowing out of the yellow springs. These are only the surface. The water of the yellow springs should have already invaded the depths of your body. Yan Hui was struggling to speak. Roaring Tooth King hurriedly asked, is there a way to treat this injury? At this point, Wang Daoyuan had no choice but to treat it. He had already done so. If he could not treat it, Yan Hui would die and there would be demons who would hold a grudge against Wang Daoyuan. He shook his head and said, it's hard to say. I'm also not completely confident. If Brother Yan Hui trusts me, then withdraw all the spiritual energy back into the demon core. I'll use the life spiritual fire to refine your entire body. The water of the yellow springs is also afraid of the life spiritual fire. Maybe it can solve the root of the problem. Yen Hui's situation was different from when he exchanged the jade needles and white jade pine in Zhou. That cultivator surnamed Li was also of the wood attribute. He did not need to withdraw his spiritual energy. Even if Wang Daoyuan had evil intentions, he still had the power to resist. But the black flame tiger was of the fire attribute. It was incompatible with the life spiritual fire. He had to withdraw all his spiritual energy back into his dantian. Doing so was handing his life over to Wang Daoyuan. It was hard for people of the same clan to trust each other so much. What's more, he and Yen Hui had only known each other for a short while. Roaring Tooth King did not dare to make the decision for him. Yen Hui endured the pain and said with a trembling voice, "Wang, brother, you can rest assured." Saying so, he withdrew all his spiritual energy back into his dantian. Wang Daoyuan also drew out a wisp of the life spiritual fire and poured it into Yen Hui's meridians from his palm. There was no yellow springs water in his meridians. Wang Daoyuan then guided the life spiritual fire into Yen Hui's blood. Sure enough, there was yellow springs water in his blood. Moreover, the amount of yellow springs water was not small. It accounted for 1% of the total amount of blood. This was also because Yen Hui's cultivation was high and his physical body was strong enough. If it was an ordinary golden core human cultivator, he would probably have died by now. Wang Daoyuan followed the blood to find the root of the illness. Finally, he found a longan-sized earthy yellow water droplet in the corner of Yen Hui's heart. This water droplet was quite extraordinary. It contained more death chi than the spring water in the Yellow Springs secret realm. The water droplet was still constantly extracting chi, blood and vital essence from Yen Hui's blood and gradually strengthening itself. Moreover, this water droplet could also block the detection of divine sense. Once the spirit chi came over, it would be absorbed. No wonder Yen Hui did not discover it. Yen Hui's original body was a black flame tiger. A rank 4 demonic beast's body was much larger than a human's. Naturally, its heart was also much larger. This Yellow Springs water droplet was not conspicuous in his heart. If it was a human cultivator, his heart meridians would have been blocked. Wang Daoyuan used the life spiritual fire to wrap the Yellow Springs water droplet, preventing it from extracting chi, blood and vital essence. It also could not inject Yellow Springs water into the blood. Chapter 580. Wang Daoyuan turned all the spiritual energy in his body into spiritual fire of life and poured it into Yen Hui's meridians. The spiritual fire of life followed the meridians and entered the heart. Then, the spiritual fire of life spread throughout the body with the help of the blood flow, removing the Yellow Springs water in the blood. Without the supply of the Yellow Springs water droplet, the Yellow Springs water in the blood could not do anything. It was just that when the Yellow Springs water and the spiritual fire of life clashed, Yen Hui was in extreme pain. After all, the blood would flow to every part of the body. To completely remove the Yellow Springs water, he had to let the spiritual fire burn his entire body. This Yen Hui was really a tough guy, not making a sound. His muscles twitched all over and his skin was full of black stains. His skin was originally black with silver stripes, but now it was pure black, and his head was even emitting black smoke. He endured for an hour, and Wang Daoyuan finally removed all the death energy from the Yellow Springs water in his blood, leaving only Densine energy. To a rank 4 high-grade demonic beast, this bit of Yin energy was nothing, and would be quickly removed by the body. After the Yellow Springs water was completely removed, Yen Hui did not feel any pain and let out a sigh of relief. "Brother Wang has good methods, I feel fine." Wang Daoyuan had not retracted the spiritual fire of life, and he did not notice the abnormality in his heart. Wang Daoyuan replied, "You're fine? What's next?" "There is a Yellow Springs water droplet the size of a longan in your heart, and the death energy inside is extremely dense. That is the root of the illness. This Yellow Springs water droplet is constantly absorbing your spiritual energy and true essence to strengthen itself, and it is also constantly releasing Yellow Springs water into your body. If the root of the illness is not removed, you will be corroded to death by the Yellow Springs water sooner or later. However, I have already used the spiritual fire of life to envelop this Yellow Springs water droplet, so it will not be able to do anything for now." Hearing this, Yen Hui was a little flustered and asked, "I was just scratched a few times by the refined corpse. Why would there be a Yellow Springs water droplet in my heart? Brother Wang, do you have a way to deal with this thing?" Wang Daoyuan nodded. "This Yellow Springs water droplet is not ordinary. I have never seen this thing before, It is probably some secret technique that refined corpse cultivated. Ordinary refined corpses only play with corpse energy and death energy. This refined corpse can actually use such a secret technique. It must have a great background. However, the fire of life should be able to burn away the death aura. It's just that this position is too dangerous. I don't dare to dissolve it directly in your heart. If something went wrong, Big Brother Yen Hui's life would be in danger. Now I'll wrap it up with my life spirit fire, and you can use your divine sense to look inside. You should be able to see where that thing is. I don't know much about the structure of the black flame tiger's body, so I don't know how to take it out. I'll need you to do it personally. Yen Hui used the power of his divine sense to check his heart. Sure enough, he found a ball of life spirit fire. The life spirit fire was still seeping out yin qi and emitting the sound of corrosion. He clenched his teeth and said, "Brother Wang, don't worry. Use your divine sense to control the Yellow Springs water droplet. Follow the blood flow and move it towards your right arm." Wang Daoyuan followed his instructions and controlled the underworld water droplet to leave his heart. The underworld water droplet seemed to have some consciousness and was resisting Wang Daoyuan's divine sense. However, this resistance was too weak. It was completely unable to contend against Wang Daoyuan's divine sense. The underworld water droplet was pushed by Wang Daoyuan's divine sense and followed the blood flow to his right arm. The black flame tiger's blood vessels were thick enough. The underworld water droplet the size of a longan smoothly reached his right arm. Then Yen Hui's left hand turned into a tiger's claw and viciously clawed at his right arm. A bloody wound appeared at the crook of his right arm. Blood gushed out. And Yen Hui's tiger claw was holding the underworld water droplet. Wang Daoyuan immediately took out the azure dragon pearl and helped him heal the wound on his right arm. Yen Hui looked at the underworld water droplet fiercely and said angrily, "It's this damn thing that caused me so much pain that I wish I was dead." Then he slapped the ground with his tiger claw. The underworld water droplet splashed everywhere. Then it gathered together again. Wang Daoyuan released his life spirit fire and used all his strength to burn the underworld water droplet. The water droplet released bursts of black smoke and a nauseating rotten smell. The entire underworld water droplet was also constantly shrinking. After an hour, the underworld water droplet had shrunk by half and turned pure black. Wang Daoyuan probed with his divine sense and discovered that there was actually a trace of soul inside. He felt that this soul was very familiar. It was very similar to the soul split from the doppelganger soul nurturing technique. The only difference was that his soul split was a living soul and could merge with his physical body. And this soul split from a ghost and could no longer merge with a living person's physical body. He was a little apprehensive. Back then, Qiyun obtained the doppelganger soul nurturing technique from the underworld secret realm. After he was killed by him, the doppelganger soul nurturing technique fell into his hands. He had never passed this thing to anyone else. Even Zhou Wan thought that he was using some kind of secret method to control the mind. There should be no one else who knew the doppelganger soul nurturing technique other than himself. If it was really the doppelganger soul nurturing technique with this soul split around, what Wang Daoyuan said before would probably have been heard by the caster. Wang Daoyuan also did not have time to think too much. Taking out the meteorite fire controlling gourd, he released a wisp of crimson Luan nirvana fire to burn the black water droplet. In less than half a cup of tea's time, the black water droplet disappeared without a trace. Even that wisp of soul also turned into nothingness. Yen Hui moved his muscles and bones, casting a few spells and said with a smile, "Brother Wang is capable. Such a hidden secret technique was even broken by you. If not for you taking action, elder brother's life would have been over. If you need any help in the future, feel free to send me a message. I definitely won't refuse." Finished talking, he handed a jade talisman to Wang Daoyuan. Wang Daoyuan received the jade talisman and said with a smile, "Big brother Yen Hui is too serious. It's only right for a brother to help you. In the future, remember to tell me when refining corpses out of the cave. I'll definitely lend a hand." At this moment, a black cloud floated over from the northeast. Before the person arrived, a sweet voice could be heard, "Little brother Daoyuan, why didn't you tell elder sister that you came to Shanbei? This time you must come to my dark fox tribe and stay for a few days. Let elder sister be the host." Wang Daoyuan's expression changed. Zhou Wan was watching from 100 miles away in the south. If he were to pull with Ming Xian, he would be chopped to death. He hurriedly cupped his hands towards Yen Hui and Roaring Tooth King. "I still have important matters to attend to in Shanbei. I won't stay here for long. Goodbye." Finished speaking, he rode the 5-colored auspicious cloud and flew towards the south. He could only hear Roaring Tooth King's mocking voice, Ming Xian's noisy voice, and Yin Hui's laughter from behind. After flying 100 miles away, Zhou Wan also flew onto the auspicious cloud and asked sourly, "When I wasn't here, you were talking and laughing with that fox spirit. You even hugged and hugged. Now that I'm here, why did you turn around and run? Are you guilty?" Wang Daoyuan replied, "You're jealous the moment you open your mouth. A gentleman is magnanimous. What do I have to be guilty about? I had no choice but to turn around and run. With your petty nature, if I dared to say a word to Ming Xin, wouldn't I be chopped alive by you?" Being called petty by him, Zhou Wan naturally wouldn't admit it. The two of them quarreled all the way to the south. In the Yellow Spring secret realm, beside the Yellow Spring, a withered old man angrily said, "It's this little bug again." This old man painstakingly created the Yellow Spring corpse refining technique. Before I could turn that black flame tiger into a refined corpse, it was ruined. A fourth-rank upper-grade refined corpse was destroyed by this little bug. He even dared to ally with the demon race to fight against this old man's refined corpse. He really doesn't know what's good for him. In the future, if you fall into this old man's hands, I'll make you wish you were dead. However, this kid really has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. The last wisp of flame he used seemed to have the aura of a phoenix. After venting his anger, he extracted a longan-sized earthy yellow water droplet from the Yellow Spring willow. Then he separated a wisp of his soul and merged it into the earthy yellow water droplet. The soul and the water droplet seemed to have some kind of connection and quickly merged into one. Then he placed the water droplet into the Yellow Spring to nourish it. Chapter 581. Wang Daoyuan brought Zhou Wan back to the Jade Spring Peak. With Zhou Wan's intelligence agency there, the changes in Zhao couldn't be hidden from him. Whether it was at Wuxia Pass or the hinterland of Zhao, there were no battles between golden core cultivators. The three major sects were still hiding like turtles, but the long-legged prince's tactics had changed. They no longer attacked the heavily guarded markets and important industries, but instead intercepted the three major sects' transport ships. The markets at the rear weren't afraid as they had enough resources, so there wouldn't be any problems in the short term. However, the front lines at Wuxia Pass were having a hard time. A war at the national level consumed a lot of resources. Once there was a problem with the supplies at the rear, the three major sects wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Wang Daoyuan wasn't too worried as the three major sects' hidden strength hadn't been exposed yet. It was still unknown who would emerge victorious. Half a year later, good news came from the family. The 12th uncle's cultivation had reached the peak of the Violet Palace realm. Wang Daoyuan was overjoyed to hear the news. He hadn't wasted his resources for so many years. Now that his cultivation had reached the peak of the Violet Palace realm, all that was left was to comprehend the laws. The 12th uncle's talent was needless to say. It wouldn't be long before the Wang family had another golden core cultivator. He didn't have a special constitution, so he would only have to face 9 golden core heavenly tribulations. The Wang family had no difficulty dealing with 9 golden core heavenly tribulations with their grade 4 magic artifacts. As long as he could form the embryonic form of the golden core, he wouldn't have to worry about the tribulation. As for forming the embryonic form of the golden core, the 12th uncle had an 8-inch and 7-part water spirit root. Although it wasn't a 100% success rate like the heavenly spirit root, the success rate should still be 80 to 90%. As long as he could comprehend the power of the laws, it wouldn't be a big deal even if he failed to form the golden core. Failing to form the golden core didn't cause too much damage to the body. With the Azure Dragon Pearl providing a huge amount of vitality, he could try again in a few years. Wang Daoyuan had already arranged the duties of 12th uncle after he formed his Azoth core. He would replace 5th granduncle as the head steward of the administrator's mansion and manage the daily affairs of the mansion. With the 12th uncle in charge of the administrator's mansion, 5th uncle could also put down his burden and focus all his energy on improving his cultivation. Right now he wasn't too far away from the late-stage Zifu realm, and he was only a little over 300 years old. With sufficient resources, there was hope for him to form his gold core within 30 years. Then there were the 3rd brother Wang Daochang, the 27th brother Wang Daojin, and Wang Mingshan. The 3 of them had sufficient purple rhythm pills and tier 3 hidden cloud tea. Below him was his grandnephew Wang Dezhao, who was already at the 9th level of the Foundation Establishment realm and was not far from the peak of the Foundation Establishment realm. He was a cultivator with 2 spirit roots, and his main spirit root was the 8.5-inch fire spirit root. Wang Daoyuan had even given him part of the cultivation technique that True Lord 100 Spirits had left behind. Given his talent, cultivation technique, and sufficient resources, it wasn't strange for the phenomenon of a divine beast to appear when he was establishing his Violet Palace realm. Moreover, this child was rather sensible. He had offered up the crucial Heart Sutra of clouds and rain, so he had to be nurtured properly no matter what. Unfortunately, the Gui water hell flame could burn one's divine sense and soul, so it wasn't suitable for comprehending the water-type laws. Fortunately, there was the dragonfish corpse. The dragonfish was similar to the black dragon, so it was very helpful for comprehending the water-type laws. In the following days, the 12th uncle went into seclusion at the dragonfish corpse in the secret treasure vault. If there were any questions, Wang Daoyuan could use his divine sense to explain to him without leaving the cave abode's door. When Wang Daoyuan was comprehending the laws back then, he had Zhou Wan's guidance and divine flames as a reference. In just half a year he had comprehended the fire laws. The 12th uncle had the dragonfish's pseudo-dragon ball, and Wang Daoyuan, a mid-stage golden core cultivator, had explained everything. Therefore he was treated better than Wang Daoyuan back then. A year later, the 12th uncle lived up to everyone's expectations and successfully comprehended the water-type laws. During this year the battles in various parts of the Zhao kingdom were very boring. The three major sects were determined to be cowards. Apart from the resources sent to Wuxia Pass, which were escorted by many flying warships, the other industries that were besieged had to rely on themselves to withstand the attacks. The three major sects' mountain gates and various industries were separated and could only rely on the resources in their inventory to hold on. The long-legged prince's forces weren't much better. Although they occupied many industries, they didn't have the manpower to develop them. When the three major sects gave up these industries, they took everything they could and destroyed everything they couldn't. It would take at least 10 years to recover these industries. The long-legged prince didn't have the manpower or the time to recover the industries. Their resources were mainly transported from Linhai Prefecture. This route required them to cross the Sky Chop mountain range, so they suffered great losses. According to Zhou Wan's information, the Song kingdom wasn't doing well either. All the experts in the kingdom had been pulled to Wuxia Pass, and the Song kingdom had become a paradise for itinerant cultivators. They often attacked various industries, and the neighboring countries often came to take advantage of them. The Song kingdom's resources were basically from their inventory. At this point in the war, both sides were very cautious. It was a competition of resources. A large number of itinerant cultivators had entered South Yen County, so there were naturally many who caused trouble. However, the itinerant cultivators who caused trouble were all killed by Wang Daoyuan's soul-chasing bees. After killing the chickens to warn the monkeys, the itinerant cultivators became very obedient. South Yen County was peaceful, and Wang Daoyuan had enough energy to protect the 12th uncle. After the 12th uncle comprehended the water-attributed laws, he walked out of the underground treasury and returned to his cave abode. Wang Daoyuan prepared 9 inferior-grade Tier 4 defensive Dharma artifacts and some healing pills. When Xiaoqin arrived at the 12th uncle's cave abode, he handed the items to him and asked, "12th uncle, how are your preparations? When forming the core, qi and blood are extremely important. They have to meet the requirements." The 12th uncle took the items and waved his hand. "Don't worry. Although I'm not as talented as you, I'm still a genius. I've consumed a huge amount of resources over the years, and if I still can't meet the requirements for forming the core, then I'll be too useless." Wang Daoyuan smiled. "Alright then. First, let these Dharma artifacts recognize you as their master. Later you can use them to withstand the heavenly tribulation. I'll take care of the rest." The 12th uncle nodded and did not say anything else. Then Wang Daoyuan instructed the third brother to evacuate the family. The Wang family only had one Tier 4 spirit vein, Jade Spring Peak. Naturally, the core formation had to be done there. As the main spirit mountain of the Wang family, Jade Spring Peak had many cultivators and ordinary people living there. Once the 12th uncle succeeded in forming the core, he would definitely trigger the heavenly tribulation. No living creatures could be left in the area covered by the heavenly tribulation. The family members and spirit beasts were temporarily moved to Clear Sky Peak. The Clear River carps in the Jade Dragon Spring were also moved to the Sleeping Bow Pond at the foot of the mountain. The array formation was also affected and needed to be closed. On the other hand, the array formation at the bottom of the Earth Fire Room was already more than 30 kilometers away from the Jade Dragon Spring, so it did not need to be closed for the time being. After all the preparations were done, the 12th uncle began to meditate and cultivate beside the Jade Dragon Spring. A few days later, a spiritual aura wind started to appear on Jade Spring Peak. It gradually became stronger and turned into a spiritual aura vortex. However, the grade of the Jade Spring Peak spirit vein was rather high now and the spiritual aura was abundant. The spiritual aura vortex was only 100 meters in size. Wang Daoyuan also ordered the administrator's office to issue an order to kill anyone who came within 150 kilometers of the Jade Spring Peak. Previously, he had already intimidated the group of loose cultivators by making an example out of them. Therefore, no one dared to come within 150 kilometers of the Jade Spring Peak. Half a year later, a golden core projection with a diameter of 6 inches and 8 centimeters appeared in the sky above the 12th uncle. Although it was inferior to Wang Daoyuan's 9-inch golden core and Zhou Wan's 7-inch golden core, it was already comparable to some cultivators with heavenly spirit roots. Once the golden core projection appeared, the heavenly tribulation was about to descend. Soon, a dark cloud appeared directly above the Jade Dragon Spring. The dark cloud quickly expanded and eventually grew to a diameter of 20 kilometers. The 12th uncle didn't have a special constitution and only had 9 core formation heavenly tribulations. A tribulation cloud with a diameter of 20 kilometers was already not small. The heavenly tribulation only covered a diameter of 10 kilometers, which was much smaller than expected. The Earth Fire Room wouldn't be affected. Chapter 582. Wang Daoyuan retreated 5 kilometers away from the Jade Dragon Spring and stood guard in the sky to prevent anyone from causing trouble. At the same time, he sent a message to his third brother, asking him to bring his clansmen with potential and wait near the Jade Spring Peak. The gift of heaven and earth after the heavenly tribulation could heal the hidden injuries in a cultivator's body and increase their potential to a certain extent. Cultivators who had reached a bottleneck would have a chance to break through the bottleneck after receiving the gift of heaven and earth. Anyway, the 12th uncle could not absorb all of it. It would be a pity to waste it. 5th great uncle also rushed back from Clear Glass City. He was the next to form his core, so he naturally had to accumulate experience. The Thunder Ape and Yun Yi, the 2 fellows who did not wake up early without benefits, sensed the heavenly tribulation and rushed to the vicinity of the Jade Spring Peak. Yun Yi was carrying Big Black on her back. Over the years, the cultivators of the Demon Slaying Division had killed many rank 3 demonic beasts, including many wolf-type demonic beasts. Naturally, they had obtained a lot of blood essence. Wang Daoyuan also helped Big Black refine some bloodline pills. Now, Big Black was only a step away from becoming a high-grade rank 2 spirit beast. Apart from these people, Wang Daoyuan also sent a message to the spirit-devouring beast, asking him to guard Fallen Dragon Ridge and guard against demonic beasts. Once the gift of heaven and earth appeared, many demons would be interested. Not long after, the blue-white lightning descended from the sky. The 12th uncle read the core formation insights of a few people and understood the heavenly tribulation very well. He was already prepared. He had already taken out a defensive Dharma artifact to withstand the lightning. The power of the first 3 heavenly tribulations was only SOSO. A Dharma artifact could withstand all of them. It was not until the 5th heavenly tribulation descended that the first Dharma artifact was destroyed. The 12th uncle suffered some minor injuries. The 6th heavenly tribulation directly destroyed a defensive Dharma artifact. Before the 7th heavenly tribulation descended, he ate a healing pill and meditated. He used 2 Dharma artifacts to withstand the 7th and 8th heavenly tribulations. He used 3 Dharma artifacts to withstand the last heavenly tribulation. The low-grade rank 4 defensive Dharma artifacts were still a little weak. The 3 Dharma artifacts were all destroyed and the 12th uncle was charred black. However, he did not suffer any serious injuries and was still alive and kicking. Of the 9 natal Dharma artifacts, 5 had been completely destroyed, while the other 4 had been severely damaged by the heavenly tribulation. There was still some value in repairing them. At this moment, the heavenly might emitted by the tribulation clouds had already disappeared, and the dark clouds were beginning to transform into golden clouds. The heavenly tribulation had passed, and all that was left was the gift of heaven and earth. The Jade Spring Peak was less than 5,000 kilometers away from the heavenly/mountain range's main range. At this distance it would definitely alarm those rank 4 demonic beasts. To the Wang clan the demonic beasts were the true test. A quarter of an hour later, the tribulation clouds completely transformed into golden clouds, and golden raindrops fell from the sky. Without Wang Daoyuan's permission, no one dared to approach. These golden raindrops were all absorbed by the 12th uncle to heal his injuries and stabilize his cultivation. However, some fellows were not very obedient. For example, the Qing River carp in the Sleeping Bow Pond, especially the Qing River carp that was recognized by the 12th uncle as its master, was now a second stage superior. However, its size was still small, only about 2 feet long. It led a group of Qing River carps upstream along the Jade Dragon stream and swam towards the Jade Dragon spring. After half a cup of tea's time, the 12th uncle's injuries had already completely healed, and his spiritual power fluctuations had also stabilized. He shouted, "Daoyuan, let the clansmen come over." Wang Daoyuan instructed the clansmen, "Return to the mountain." A group of Purple Mansion Realm and Foundation Establishment cultivators flew towards the Jade Spring Peak on their swords, followed by a few flying boats. On these flying boats, some of them were refiners with more potential. There were also some children of cultivators under the age of 10, and the possibility of them having spiritual roots was very high. Before the age of 10, their spiritual roots had not fully formed. At this time, receiving the gift of heaven and earth was still possible to strengthen their spiritual roots. Yun-Yi also flew to the spiritual mountain with the Thunder Ape and Dahe to absorb these golden raindrops. The many spiritual plants on the mountain also absorbed some of the golden raindrops and became exceptionally energetic. The 12th uncle's Qing River carp pet kept jumping out of the water vein, wanting to absorb more golden raindrops. Wang Daoyuan did not join in the fun. Instead, he rode a cloud in the sky east of the Jade Spring Peak, staring at the east. The spirit-devouring beast patrolled near the main vein of the Heavenly/Mountain Range and found that there were already 2 low-grade 4th-rank demonic birds coming towards the Jade Spring Peak. He was a demon and could not casually expose himself, so he did not make a move against the 2 demonic birds. However, the 2 low-grade 4th-rank demonic birds were not much of a threat to Wang Daoyuan. Even if they had small divine abilities, they would not be able to last long under Wang Daoyuan's hands. Moreover, the 12th uncle could also make a move now. With his early-stage golden core cultivation, he could control the myriad water origin formation. Even if a few low-grade 4th-rank demonic beasts came, they would not be able to threaten the Jade Spring Peak. Of course, the flying speed of 4th-rank demonic birds was far superior to early-stage golden core cultivators. If they wanted to escape, Wang Daoyuan really did not have much confidence in catching them. However, humans die for wealth and birds die for food. With the gift of heaven and earth to fish, there would always be some who were not afraid of death. The Jade Needle White Jade Pine was still too early to mature. The core formation spiritual item had to be found elsewhere. He could find an opportunity to kill a few 4th-rank demonic beasts and refine the core formation pill. Not long after, a demonic bird flew over from the west. This demonic bird belonged to the crane species. Its wingspan was more than 3 meters, and its entire body was covered in fiery red feathers. When it flew closer, Wang Daoyuan recognized this demonic bird. This demonic bird was called the flame-feathered crane, and it was also an expert in playing with fire. However, it did not have any divine bird bloodline. The flame-feathered crane's cultivation was at most mid-grade 4th rank. Among the demonic birds, it was the type that did not have a good future. Wang Daoyuan was a little excited. This was a 4th-rank demonic core that had been delivered to his doorstep. Without waiting for it to approach the Jade Spring Peak, he took the initiative to go forward. When he was more than 50 kilometers away from the flame-feathered crane, he used the water dragon technique. After the water dragon took shape, he used the water dragon prison. A black bubble with a diameter of 300 meters appeared out of thin air and enveloped the flame-feathered crane. The flame-feathered crane charged inside several times and found that it could not break out of the water dragon prison with its physical body. Then, crimson flames began to burn on its wings, and the flames quickly spread throughout its body. Wang Daoyuan would not just watch it escape. He took out the white tiger blade and poured his spirit energy into it, then used the sword manipulation technique. The white tiger blade flew out and went straight for the flame-feathered crane. A moment later, the flame-feathered crane released a large amount of flames, which directly blew up the water dragon prison. It had just broken out of the water dragon prison, and before it could celebrate, the white tiger blade caught up to it. A cold light flashed and the flame-feathered crane's neck was cut in 2. Blood spurted out from the cut. Wang Daoyuan used the water dragon prison again and wrapped the corpse up. Not for anything else, but just the blood of a 4th-rank demonic bird was extremely precious. He pulled the water dragon prison closer and shrunk it to about 3 meters. Then he put it into the spirit pearl space and let Tu Yuming take care of the corpse. At this time, another demonic bird entered the Wang family's territory. This guy was an eagle-type demonic beast with a few golden feathers on its body. It might have the bloodline of a higher-level demonic bird. However, this guy was clever. After seeing the flame-feathered crane die with its own eyes, it did not dare to come here again. It let out a frightened cry, and its body leaned to the side, drawing a perfect arc in the air, and turned around to fly into the depths of the sky/mountain range. Eagle-type demonic birds were known for their speed. It was more than 1,000 miles away from the Jade Spring Peak. With Wang Daoyuan's speed, it was impossible for him to catch up with it. Even if he used the Scarlet Phoenix fire manipulation technique, he could only close the distance by a few hundred miles at most. A cultivator using an escape technique would not be able to last forever, so there was no hope of catching up to it. He thought it was a pity. If he could kill this demonic bird and refine the bloodline pill, maybe Jin Yu would have the possibility of advancing. The spirit-devouring beast detected that 2 more demonic beasts were heading towards the Jade Spring Peak. However, their speed was really not that good. Without waiting for them to enter the Wang family's territory, the gift of heaven and earth would be over. The gift of heaven and earth was a manifestation of a kind of law. 4th-rank demonic beasts could feel the intense changes in this law, and knew that the gift of heaven and earth was very beneficial to them. Therefore they would try their best to take advantage of it. Once the gift of heaven and earth disappeared and the law calmed down, the demonic beasts would no longer be attracted, and they would naturally not come over. Chapter 583. Wang Daoyuan still did not let his guard down. Although the demonic beasts would not directly threaten the core territory of the Wang family. However, within the range of the sky/mountain range, there were Linji Mountain and Fallen Dragon Ridge. The ordinary clansmen had already migrated out, but the family had developed these 2 places for more than 100 years, opening up many spirit fields, mines, and forests. There were also some cultivators guarding there. If the demonic beasts ran there and found that the gift of heaven and earth was gone, they would vent their anger on Fallen Dragon Ridge and Linji Mountain. The loss of the family would be great. He put on the black demon robe, put away the auspicious clouds, lowered his flying altitude, and entered the range of the sky/mountain range. Soon he arrived at the easternmost end of Fallen Dragon Ridge. In the air more than 100 miles south of Fallen Dragon Ridge, there were 2 Tier 4 inferior-grade demonic beasts flying towards Jade Spring Peak. One of them was a wild boar and the other was a grizzly bear. Both of them were in their original forms. When demonic beasts reached Tier 4, they would be able to take human form after passing the transformation tribulation. They would be able to break through the bloodline restrictions of their race and give birth to offspring with other races. Therefore there were many Tier 4 demonic beasts with mixed blood. Wang Daoyuan really could not tell what kind of demonic beasts these 2 guys were. He was afraid that these 2 stubborn guys would cause trouble, so he used the stealth demon art and quietly followed behind. After half a cup of tea's time, the gift of heaven and earth at Jade Spring Peak ended. As Wang Daoyuan expected, the 2 demonic beasts went crazy and turned north, wanting to vent their anger on Fallen Dragon Ridge. Within the range of the sky/mountain range, Wang Daoyuan did not dare to make too much noise. He only wanted to kill the demonic beasts as quickly and quietly as possible. His fastest attack method was to use the white tiger blade. The grizzly bear and wild boar in front of him both had strong physical bodies. The wild boar was of the earth attribute and was more resistant to beatings. The grizzly bear was of the wood attribute and was easier to kill in one blow. He took out the white tiger blade and stabbed at the grizzly bear's back. As soon as the white tiger blade was used, the 2 demonic beasts noticed. However, their reaction speed could not compare to Wang Daoyuan's. In the blink of an eye, the grizzly bear did not have time to dodge and was pierced through the heart by the white tiger blade. Then the sword chi was released, completely crushing the gray bear's heart and invading the gray bear's consciousness. Before it died, it let out an angry roar. The wild boar next to it also roared in fear and quickly used the earth escape technique to escape into the ground. Wang Daoyuan immediately put the body of the grizzly bear into the space of the spirit bead. He wanted to attack the wild boar, but it was too late. Relying on the strength of his physical body, he escaped to a depth of 10,000 feet underground. This wild boar's intelligence was not low. It was certain that Wang Daoyuan did not dare to waste time here, so it stayed underground and refused to come out no matter what. Wang Daoyuan didn't waste any time. He cleaned up the traces and hid again. Half a cup of tea later, 3 human-shaped demons appeared at the place where Wang Daoyuan had killed the grizzly bear. A woman in red stomped on the ground a few times and said, "That wild boar came out. What happened here?" Her voice seemed to carry the law of penetration. Even though they were separated by thousands of feet of rock, the wild boar underground could still hear her. It quickly returned to the ground and snorted at the 3 of them for a long time. A silver-haired man said, "This guy and that bear wanted to attack Fallen Dragon Ridge, so they were killed by a sneak attack. Fallen Dragon Ridge is occupied by the Wang family. Only Wang Daoyuan can kill a rank 4 demon in an instant. Wang Daoyu, can you show yourself? Wang Daoyuan appeared 1,000 feet in front of them. The three people and the pig were all shocked. The woman in red smiled and said, Wang Daoyu is really capable. I didn't notice you at all when you were so close. The black-robed man who had been silent all this time questioned, Wang Daoyu killed a rank 4 demon in our territory. Do you not put us in your eyes? Wang Daoyuan replied calmly, this is Fallen Dragon Ridge, the territory of my Wang family. The woman in red said, Wang Daoyu is being unreasonable. Since 10,000 years ago, there have been no human forces in the Heavenly/Mountain Range. Since Fallen Dragon Ridge is in the Heavenly/Mountain Range, it naturally belongs to the demon race. Wang Daoyuan was amused by her. Daoyu is not telling the truth. Isn't my family's force in the Heavenly/Mountain Range now? My human race has not reached an agreement with the demon race to say that humans are not allowed to enter the Heavenly/Mountain Range, right? If the demon race can occupy the Heavenly/Mountain Range, can't my human race do the same? The silver-haired man said unhappily, Wang Daoyu is being unreasonable. The Wang family has only occupied Fallen Dragon Ridge for more than 100 years, while the demon race has occupied the Heavenly/Mountain Range for 10,000 years. We have occupied it for a longer time, so it naturally belongs to us. Since 10,000 years ago, there were no more Yuanian cultivators in the human race. The demon race had a longer lifespan. The rank 5 demon race had lived for many years. The human race relied on the backup plan left behind by their ancestors and could barely contend with the demon race. They were unable to control the Heavenly/Mountain Range. By now it was time for those old coffins of the demon race to be buried. Both sides did not have Yuanian combat strength, so who was afraid of who? He said indifferently, 10,000 years ago, the Heavenly/Mountain Range was occupied by the human race for countless years. In terms of time, my human race has the advantage. At this moment, a golden auspicious cloud floated over from the east. A sharp voice came from above. Daoyu, do you mean to rely on strength to speak? My demon race likes to talk with strength the most. I just don't know if Daoyu is strong enough. More than 500 years ago, this myriad water origin formation blocked more than 10 rank 4 demons. I wonder how many can it block now. This meant that they wanted to attack the Jade Spring Peak to threaten him. Since they had already said this, Wang Daoyuan did not stand on ceremony with them. He sneered and said, my strength is naturally not enough to fight the demon race head-on. But if you destroy my family, it won't be difficult for me to kill a few rank 4 demons a year with my concealment technique. In the next few decades, Daoyu's family will be extinct. And your strength is not enough in front of me. Unless you stay together all the time, I will kill every single one of you. Alright, there are still refined corpses in the north of the mountain. Why don't I help them? I also know a lot of methods to refine corpses. Let's see if the demon race in the Heavenly/Mountain Range perishes first, or if my Wang family cultivators die first. With Wang Daoyuan's current combat strength, he might not be able to defeat those half-divine beasts in a battle of the same level. Other demon beasts with lower divine beast bloodlines would not be enough even if they had small divine abilities. The few people in front of him were too weak. The expressions of the demons changed drastically. Their territory was not far from the north of the mountain, and they had seen many demon beasts escape to the south of the mountain. They knew how dangerous these refined corpses were. With the help of the Netherworld Cave, the demons could only be forced to defend. Moreover, these guys were far more interested in the demons than the humans. The flaw of the refined corpses was that they had only one method, and the humans could make up for this flaw. Once the two sides cooperated, the demons would be in even more trouble. Every time the refined corpses killed a demon, they could turn it into a walking corpse. And it was useless for the demons to kill the refined corpses. They were also not like humans who could control the refined corpses. If they really continued to play, the refined corpses and humans would become stronger and stronger while the demons would become weaker and weaker. Sooner or later they would be extinct. The voice in the golden cloud said angrily, you dare? Wang Daoyuan said disdainfully, you guys want to exterminate my entire family, what else do I not dare to do? Back then, the old ancestor could rampage through the Heavenly/Mountain Range, suppressing you guys so much that you did not dare to come out. My strength is above his. Do you think I'm afraid of you? You should be glad that I have a family that allows me to have some considerations. If not for the family's restraint, you guys would just be my cultivation resources. If you exterminate my family, I will let your entire family die with me. You can also gamble with the lives of your entire family and take this opportunity to keep me here. If you succeed, you will have one less big problem. If you fail, your entire family will just be wiped out. A powerful, elusive, and unscrupulous person was the most dangerous. The humans still had array formations to protect their nests, but the demons did not have a protective array formation. These demons were not too strong. If Wang Daoyuan really destroyed their entire family, they would not even have the ability to protect themselves. Chapter 584. The demons' expressions were somewhat ugly. Wang Daoyuan's concealment methods were extremely powerful, and they could not see through it at all. Even if they attacked together, the possibility of taking down Wang Daoyuan was extremely small. Using the lives of the entire clan to gamble on this extremely small success rate, no one was willing to do this. The silver-haired man hurriedly came out to smooth things over. Wang Daoyu also said it in anger. Previously, he even helped the bloodthirsty ash wolf kill 3 refined corpses at Shanbei. Not long ago, he even helped the Black Flame Tiger clan's Yan Hui treat his injuries. Daoyu even said that you're his brother. I'm also from the Tiger clan. We're all brothers, so there's no need to shout and kill like this. Wang Daoyuan naturally did not want to meet force with force. Those tough words earlier were also to fight for survival space for his clan. He was clearly telling them that although he was weak, he also had the ability to exterminate their clan. Bullying the weak and fearing the strong was a common trait between humans and demons. The weak had no right to negotiate. To obtain an equal opportunity, they had to let them know that they had the ability to exterminate them. Both sides were wary of each other, so there was room to negotiate. In the past, when the Wang family developed Fallen Dragon Ridge, the demons did not take it seriously. Now that the matter was made clear, then there had to be a rule. If it was really like what the demons said, that the Heaven/Mountain Range was the territory of the demons, then the Wang family developing territory in the Heaven/Mountain Range was going against all the demons. They could be besieged by the demons at any time. Then what was the point of developing the Heaven/Mountain Range? Now that the silver-haired man said soft words, it meant that he was willing to talk slowly. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, actually, humans were also a member of the demons back then. It's just that later on, when we grew to a level comparable to divine beasts and were clearly different from other demons, we were pushed out of the demon clan. We all have the same thinking. We just want our own cultivation to be higher so that our clansmen can live better. Since everyone doesn't want to kill each other, then there has to be a rule. Don't say that the Heaven/Mountain Range belongs to the demons. Our human ancestors have never admitted it. The Heaven/Mountain Range was born from heaven and earth. Humans and demons were also born from heaven and earth. If the demons can occupy the Heaven/Mountain Range, we humans can naturally occupy it too. Since my clan has already established a business in the Heaven/Mountain Range, we will not retreat. The monsters looked at each other, not knowing what to do. The red-clothed woman smiled and said, what Daoyu said makes sense, but the few of us are all middle rank 4 cultivation and can't make decisions for the demon race. Daoyu was only at the middle stage of the Gold Core realm, and the Wang family was just a small force in the human race. Presumably, they could not make the decision for the human race. There's no point in us talking about these things. In my opinion, we should report this to our superiors and discuss it further. The other demons also nodded in agreement. They didn't want to follow any rules. Maintaining the status quo was the most beneficial for the demon race. If the rules were set and the human race entered the Heavenly/Mountain Range wantonly, they would be the ones to suffer losses. Wang Daoyuan shook his head and said, without rules, nothing can be accomplished. I can't represent the human race, but I can represent the Wang family in South Yen County. If you don't set up a rule, sooner or later, there will be a big conflict between the younger generation of your demon clan and the cultivators of my South Yen County. At that time, I will have no choice but to be your enemy. I won't force you to give up any benefits. It's just that when human cultivators below the Gold Core realm have a conflict with demons below rank 4, we are not allowed to interfere. If other rank 4 demons violate this rule, I will attack them. You are not allowed to stop me. If you don't even have this promise like today, you rank 4 demons will attack my Wang family's businesses and clansmen at will. Then I might as well cooperate with the refined corpses and beat the demons into submission. Today's matter was because the demons were not particular in the first place. A rank 4 demon wanted to bully a Foundation establishment human. Wang Daoyuan would not give up without an explanation. It was not bad to give a promise now and end this matter. The other demons discussed for a while and found that it was not a big deal. It was meaningless for a rank 4 demon to kill a human below the Gold Core realm. It was also a good thing to prevent Wang Daoyuan from attacking their clansmen. The silver-haired man nodded and said, let's do as Daoyu said. In the future we will not attack humans below the Gold Core realm. Your South Yin County's Gold Core Realm humans will not attack demons below rank 4. However, only the few of us will make this promise. If other demons violate the rules, they can't blame us. Besides, the human race is not allowed to invade our territory. Wang Daoyuan naturally had no objections. After the two sides agreed, they left. Although rank 4 demons were not low in intelligence, there was no environment for scheming and fighting within the demon race, and they were not experienced enough. These rank 4 demons were still lacking when it came to scheming. This agreement seemed very fair, but it was actually very beneficial to the administrator's residents. To put it bluntly, it meant that both sides' Gold Core Realm combat strength would not attack, and the cultivators below the Gold Core Realm and the demons below rank 4 would fight each other. However, the demons had too few means and they could not use Dharma artifacts, array formations, spirit talismans and the like. Without the participation of rank 4 demons, the demon-slaying division cultivators with flying warships and spirit talismans could pin rank 3 demons to the ground and beat them up. Although the scope of this agreement was very small, these rank 4 demon clan members were the local tyrants in the vicinity. The Wang family did not need to negotiate with other demons for territorial disputes. If they agreed, the Wang family would have no pressure to expand to the east. Moreover, humans and demons like to follow conventions. Just like how demons believed that the Heaven/Mountain Range was their territory, they also followed a convention formed over 10,000 years. Once this agreement was implemented, it would become a convention after a long time. In the future, when the Wang family expanded to other places and met other demons, they could also use this convention. Wang Daoyuan returned to Jade Spring Peak. The gift of heaven and earth had already ended, and most of the clansmen who had received the benefits had gone to do their own things. However, there were still a few clansmen meditating where they were, including 5th great-uncle and 3rd brother Wang Daochang. 5th great-uncle had already established his purple mansion more than 100 years ago, but his talent was too good. Previously, he did not have enough cultivation resources, so his cultivation speed was not fast. However, he was already about to reach the late stage of the purple mansion realm. Now, with the help of the gift of heaven and earth, it was natural for him to break through. 3rd brother had already established his purple mansion more than 40 years ago. His talent was not bad. He was a cultivator with 3 spiritual roots, and his main spiritual root was more than 8 inches. Over the years, he had been busy dealing with affairs. In addition, the Jade Spring Peak spirit vein was not suitable for him to cultivate, so his cultivation progress had been very slow. However, with enough resources and so many years of accumulation, it was not strange for him to break through to the middle stage of the Purple Mansion realm. There were also a few Foundation Establishment and Chi Refinement clansmen meditating by the Jade Dragon Spring. It seemed that they were also about to break through. In addition to the clansmen, the Thunder Ape was also meditating. It had been a while since it broke through to the 3rd rank and it might be about to break through to the 3rd rank. There was also Big Black. Its previous cultivation was very close to the 2nd rank, and it might break through this time. Yuni had just broken through not long ago, so it would not break through again. It turned into the size of a kitten and was acting coquettishly to the clansmen, asking for roasted meat. A day later, purple light flickered between the eyebrows of 5th great-uncle and 3rd brother Wang Daochang. Then, the purple light disappeared, and the spiritual power fluctuations also increased significantly. Both of them had successfully broken through. Big Black was a 2nd-rank spirit beast, so the breakthrough caused a relatively small commotion. After a violent fluctuation, its spiritual power stabilized at the 2nd rank. The Thunder Ape's breakthrough caused a huge commotion. Blue lightning constantly flickered on its body, and its spiritual power fluctuations constantly rose. In the end, a Horned Thunder Ape more than 30 meters tall appeared on its body. The Horned Thunder Ape let out a roar. The Thunder Ape's cultivation had also reached the 3rd rank. After the clansmen and spirit beasts finished breaking through, they went about their own business. Yun-Yi carried the Thunder Ape and Big Black and left the Jade Spring Peak to continue guarding Fallen Dragon Ridge. Wang Daoyuan also prepared to return to the cave at the bottom of the Earth Fire Chamber to deal with the 2 4th-rank demonic beasts' corpses. Suddenly, a clear river carp jumped out of the Jade Dragon Spring. This clear river carp was more than 2 feet long, and its cultivation was at the 2nd rank. Its spiritual power fluctuations were unstable, and it should be about to break through to the 3rd rank. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.